Okay, testing one, two. In the name of the God, in the name of Allah, most compassionate, most merciful. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is your brother Abdul Dude, aka Questman, coming at you with another live. And let me see here. Give me a second here. Let me help the brother get in. First of all, let me start by saying Salam Alaikum, Shalom, Hotep, peace be with you, and welcome all those coming to view this live. The hope is that, there's something said that's inspiring, that's motivating, and so forth. Maybe give me a second here. I want to help the brother get logged in here to his account. Okay. All right. All right. We got hopefully some choice guests attending with us tonight, and the idea that we can break bread on a heavy level. And let's see if I can. Right now, I'm just helping the brother out. Get in. Okay. So let me give him a heads up too. All right. Let's see if we got this down. Gotta make sure everything is right. Um, let's see. I see four viewers. See a couple of likes. Much appreciated. And by the way, I got a few shout outs that I want to give out for those that have been looking out for the light dome. Um, give me a second here because I wanted to remember this because what they've done has been greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. So I think I gotta go there. There we are. So I wanted to give a shout out to two people, Sister um, Ophelia and Sister Leslie. You're very much appreciated, and your donations was received with much gratitude, and of course, as always, being used for the cause that we're working with right here. So I wanted to make sure I shouted that out. Um, yeah, always try to be mindful of the people who've been actively involved in helping in whatever way they're able to. Um, give me a second here because I want to make sure that this brother is able to get logged in. Okay, so I'm corresponding with him right now. So yes, indeed, um, you know, it's much appreciated. So what I'm going to do here is, oh, and by the way, for anybody else that wishes to help, the efforts of the Light Dome, you see the Cash App up there, the Light Dome. I don't like to, bang people on the head about it. You know what I mean? Because I like people to just, if they want to give, they could give. They see it up there. I don't have to keep, yapping about it all during the whole show. Um, give me a second here. And what I'm going to do for all those that are watching this live, if you already have an account with Soul Journey of Life, and you want to join this particular live panel, I'm going to show you here shortly how you can, after you've already remember this is for people who've already uh, signed up. They're already members of Soul Journey of Life. Um, give me a second here. go. All right, there we go. Just had to help the brother out. So again, anybody is welcome to participate in the live discussion. If you have an account with on a Soul Journey of Life, um, this is an open talk. But you again, to join that live, you have to have an account. But you see right there on this, to my what is this, to my left, because it's reverse here. You see to my left, uh, the website. So if you aren't a member, you can subscribe now. Go ahead and sign up now. Take the time to sign up, and that'll allow you to be able to use some of the features on the social media platform, such as this live panel, amongst other things. Okay, so with real quick, let me just go ahead and show you how that's done. That way, I did that. So basically, if you log into Soul Journey of Life, your account, if you log into your account, it's going to go to the main page, which is the Endeavor, or it might go to the home page. If it goes to the home page, just click on the left panel, and let me show you. Let's go and do that. All right. Okay. So check this out. Right. So once you've logged in, and by the way, for those who've already signed up with Soul Journey of Life, and you're wondering about your activation code, please make sure you check your spam box. Check that spam box, because often the confirmation has been sent to the spam box. Okay, so check your spam box, and if you still need help, just let me know, because oftentimes, if I've authenticated who you are or whatnot, I can use some administrative elements and go ahead and confirm your account, and you just have to remember whatever your passcode is, because I won't know that. Okay, and log in and everything. um, so if you see the screen to my left here, you'll see the main activity panel called the Endeavor. One second. Um, Hold on a second. Yeah. Okay. So just like you see it right here, family. If you go to the Endeavor page, or if you're on the if you signed in and you're on the home page, which will look something like this. This is the home page, right? Pretty simple. If you land on this page, all you have to do is, you can click the Endeavor and, check out the activities and whatnot going on. But in this case, I want to keep it simple. All you have to do is click Village Circle, just like that, to your left. There's this little button right here. This is using a laptop on your smartphone. Don't use the app, but instead use the browser, your phone browser or your tablet's browser, not the app. For this particular function that I'm talking about, because for some reason the app, this particular feature, does not operate properly. So once you're here, all you have to do is click Village Meeting Tree, right? Then, right when you're here, you can set up all your settings or whatnot. If you want your camera to be visible, you click that. If you can click this button right here that says video settings to choose which camera you use. This right here, if you want to, go in with no sound, you just mute yourself. Also, you can select the sound there. Anyway, once you have your settings the way you want it, and it'll probably ask you permissions to use your mic and cam. Go ahead and accept, so that way the platform can operate properly when you're going to this. So you can type any name that you want there, just like this. You can type any name you want, and then you click join meeting. And so once I've clicked join meeting, um, you'll if there's other people attending the meeting, you'll automatically see anyone participating in that meeting. They'll be right here, or if we toggle the view and the tile view, you'll see like however many people are in the meeting right there. So that's how that works, right? Okay. So with that said, I do have a brother who was trying to get in the meeting, but I'm going to go through the presentation and everything that I have for you tonight, and we'll look to helping him get into this meeting. Okay. In fact, you know what I'll do? Let's see here. Let me see if he's using a laptop or not. It's a lot easier if you're using a laptop. All this right here is a whole lot easier, to work with. Yeah. Okay, like that. All right. Okay. Try to, try to keep it simple. Um, but the reason why I like to do it this way is because it keeps it so that way we can make sure that the people who are attending all this or involved in all this are people that we approve of, that we that way it's just a lot easier to checks and balance the live and the discussions and whatnot that happen. That's the reason why I like to use, not just because it's a platform that I created, but also because it keeps it so that there's a sense of order and not chaos. Let's see. There we go. All right. So anyway, let's finally carry on with tonight's program. Without further ado, okay. So do this real quick. There we are. Makes everything a lot easier. So anyway, tonight I would like to break down the nature of the discussion, embracing black ways of thought and action. That's the title, as you see there. Um, And one of the things about one of tonight's guests that I'm hoping he's able, to break some heavy bread with us, because he's a good example of the 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 nature of embracing, you know, ways that come from our own. You understand? Setting a standard from our own. Finding authentication and approval from our own peoples. You understand? So, and that's why, one of the reasons why I wanted to invite this particular brother, because I'm aware of some of the the progress that this brother has made, with the talent of his own. You understand? So the question I want to ask the family to consider, and if you participate in the live, to try to think about to ponder the answer. Why is it so difficult for us to believe in ourselves? We've been taught, no, I want to say it this way: we've been programmed to reject what comes from us, and to see us, to see, to see truth through the eyes of the white man. So when the white man speaks, we immediately take it as absolute and authentic stamp of approval given, right? Being told that blacks have invented or spearheaded most of what you see, most of what society has benefited from to this day, we hear that, but we don't really, grab a hold of what that means. Um, you know, Society, when they look at us, when they look at us as a people, they they kind of shrink us down in, when it comes to achievements, to sports and entertainment, as if that's all we're capable of, or that's all we've actually done. And sometimes, when we look at our youth as we grow up, our aspirations tend to be the same. We want to be entertainers, or we want to be involved in sports. So they're out there on the court, or doing things to try to find some way to upgrade their athletic skills, or their entertainment or actor skills, or you know musical skills. And so it would seem, that all the greater aspects of what makes a society operate, becoming a scientist, becoming a doctor, becoming an engineer, becoming an astronomer, your bigger fields, becoming a historian. All these things tend not to be what surfaces as the aspiration of our youth as we grow up. We've done so much more than what society, has limited us to. And I really recommend folks to check out, just your local area. You might want to go into one of the local jazz shops or coffee shops, or someplace, where quote unquote the black nerds hang out, and just get a good listen at some of the flow. If there's wherever you get your spoken word at, sometimes just go and sit, and you'd be surprised at the type of insight that habits those places. Um, so yeah, I definitely recommend that. Sometimes your greatest knowledge, your greatest talent is right there. And tonight, we wish to have a discussion about, these aspects. As you walk along, you understand, in your town, and you see the graffiti, and you see the different works of art. You understand, the thing you have to calculate is the level of talent, the level of skill that much of what you see and even hear takes, the level of skill that it takes. You understand? Um, and I want to have a discussion about that tonight. So, the idea being to look at what we can do as a people to restore trust in ourselves and see us as authentic sources when it comes to information, right? Oftentimes, somebody will say something, from amongst our people, about where we've been, what the latest is, what the events are in the street, just things that are going down, and uh, we're slow to believe them. But when somebody gets on a main, quote unquote, mainstream media system, NBC or whatever, all these different mainstream media platforms, and some white guy sits there and tells you about something, you understand? Even if it was a black guy sitting there, it's still white owned media, right? You believe it without any question. You don't question, like, wait a minute, they could be lying. They could be trying to deceive me. They could be trying to pull, wool over my eyes. You never even think that. But let some um, random, black brother or sister, take on the mic, and suddenly, well, how do you know, brother? Where'd you get that information from? We give them the whole laydown of questioning, and it's not proper because we're literally undercutting ourselves unwittingly. So again, what makes it so difficult for us to trust us? I'd like to break this down a little bit, right? I said we have many names we have a great respect for, and to some degree, some we may agree with, some we may not. But one of the things that I want to present here is, I want us to be able to check in and peep the game, right? Hold on a second here. Hold on a second. Let me do this. Okay, pardon me for that, family. I was welcoming our guests on to the platform in the village circle meeting tree that you see on the Soul Journey of Life platform. Let me continue, right? So, as I was saying, I would like us to be able to, peep the game of our own scholars. You understand? Both young and old, and understand how each have been and still are powerful pieces and factors to the black community. A scholar recognizes the scholarship in another, regardless of whether or not views are shared. You understand? It just is what it is. You recognize, a source of knowledge, a source of learning, if you pay attention. But like I say, because it's coming from the mouth of another black brother or black sister, we tend to belittle the significance of the knowledge that they have. You understand? And often we take it even less than that when it's not authenticated by some white person. In other words, if a white person hasn't given their seal of approval, then we say, oh well, this can't be true, or I don't know, or maybe brother, that's just an opinion, or okay, yeah. We tend to be so doubtful about one another. We've gone through so many phases of aspects of dealing with self appreciation. I mean, I can start off with, you know, the battle of appreciating our looks. You know what I'm saying? Our features, our natural features, from our hair to our skin texture and color. Appreciating and building on our way, with words is another example. Let me go back about looks. Let's take the hair for example, right? I've got a whole little topic about this. This is a citation that I have from a community center. They were talking about our hair has been the subject of legal discussion for quite some time now. Our hair, identity, and hair in the African American community, starting in 1960 and 70s as the Black Power movement gained momentum and influence, as did pride in black features, including hair, afros, beaded braids, dreadlocks, knots, etc., inspired by traditional African styles popularized in the U.S. Resisting against Eurocentric standards and embracing blackness. Simultaneously, racist discrimination against hair was occurring. First court cases involving hair discrimination was Jenkins versus Blue Cross Mutual Hospital in 1976. Though legally black Americans could wear any hairstyle, hair discrimination in the workplace and in school persisted. Decline in popularity of Afro textured hair, rise in looser curls and straight hair in the 1980s and the early 90s, rise in chemical relaxer, mid late 90s to 2000, saw an increase in natural hair, wave, braids, twisted dreadlock weaves, and other styles. Increase in court cases against hair discrimination. Recent publicized hair discrimination against students. Malden Charter School suspensions of Deanna and Maya Scott for braids. Barbers Hill Independent School prohibiting Caden Bradford and his cousin DeAndre Arnold from attending school with dreadlocks. Unspoken rules of professional, right? I'm citing the quotes. Professional hair for black men and women, typically straight hair and or low cut hair. Only 7 states have passed laws against hair discrimination: California, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Colorado, Washington, Maryland. Restrictions put on black people and how hair is worn foster creativity and versatility. Hair is a form of expression and a personal representation of who someone is or wants to be. Hair is homage. The thing is, family, the fact that our hair is a subject of interest in this system, in so much as that it has to have laws passed about it, is yet another clear example of systematic racism for those who may be so much as naive about the matter. How do you create a law about the hairstyle of a person, especially when the styles are most often based on the natural way their hair grows? The equivalent of this would be to say a Caucasian man could not grow their hair past their shoulders because of whatever reason, or a white person could not shave their head bald because it might associate them with radical racist terrorist groups in the USA, or that whites who grow thick hair all over their bodies like a beast should have their bodies shaved off, as it is offensive and not a good look. You don't hear any teachers shouting this out in public schools, do you? Of course not. And why would any white person in authority show any hatred towards themselves or their natural ways? Again, these are blatant, direct forms of systematic racism that exist even in our lifetime. Um, and that is why it's hard for them to come to terms when they murder an innocent black person while wearing a badge. They were just upholding the law, right? But again, this is the RWS, or righteous white syndrome, as I like to say, manifesting yet again. So moving on. Another aspect of this, appreciating and building on our way with words. There is no need to be ashamed of the way we speak the English language. After all, it is not our native language. Not only this, but for those who criticize one another for defective use of English and believe that to speak good English is a sign of greater intelligence, is not correct. English is not the height of communication, of intellectual communication in any sense of the meaning. It is only one of many languages, and for that matter, is not even the most effective or easiest to learn of languages. It is only popularized because it is the language of the ruling class at the moment. Historically speaking, whoever is the ruling class or the ruling people, their language becomes the official language. And that has nothing to do with the language's superiority or level of intelligence. Speaking eloquently in any language is proof of at least one's ability to communicate well. What is a greater sign of one's intelligence is their ability to effectively express themselves using a language in a most creative way in which it becomes a language of its own right. Even furthermore, to be able to establish and create language, a system with all of its rules, its grammatical principles all intact. These are aspects of intelligence, regardless of the language you're speaking. There was a short time, there was for a short time a movement that had this in mind with the so-called Black English or Ebonics, a term said to come from a Robert Franklin Williams, or even it's also called or known as the African American Vernacular English, AAVE, which was regarded as a language of its own right and not simply a dialect. They actually classified this as its own language, and it was black people that produced it. Okay, but in an effort to defeat, yet again, black achievements, people discredited this language, calling it slang, calling it dirty, calling it corrupt. You understand? As they do with anything that comes forth from black achievements. So again, this was one of those endeavors that was taken down, and many of the younger generation have probably never heard of anything about this. Another language that people were trying to revive was the Gula Geechee language, which is a unique Creole language spoken in the coastal areas of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. All the areas that were some of the docking points when the slaves were, brought to this land. The Gula Geechee language began as a simplified form of communication among people who spoke many different languages, including African ethnic groups and European slave traders. Another language that's taken up more steam as of late is the Kiswahili language, which is a living African language that has gained momentum during the past few years, even more emphasizing for blacks to embrace it as a unifying language in an effort to restore a sense of nationhood. It was officially declared by the ADDI, African Diaspora Development Institute, as the official black language, right? So, and you can check that out. If you go to, I believe if you go to their website, the ADDI, that's African Diaspora Development Institute. Check them out, right? So, appreciating our minds. Again, what makes it so difficult for us to trust us? Especially when we are known to be educated, when we know that the person involved are educated, speak the truth, and present all supporting evidence. What has caused us not to take one of our own seriously with anything other than sports and entertainment? And you see what happens when one of them decides to stand up and speak up regarding the truth, even in entertainment. We have a brother who stood up and started, speaking his mind about certain things, breaking the status quo opinion, and suddenly he gets shamed. Okay, and this I'm talking about Dave Chappelle. You see what happens to him, and you get put into one of those predicaments where if you're an athlete or an entertainer, you get told to shut up and dribble or stick to the jokes, right? They get and the ridicule goes on and on. Uh, that recent example that I expressed with Dave Chappelle is yet just another example of when we as a black person reach certain heights of achievement, okay, then this society sticks to us certain expectations, as in, well, you can be popular, be famous, as long as you be a good little nigger. That's basically the bottom line that they're trying to say. Be a good little nigger, we'll allow you to shine a little bit, right? The minute you start, showing any signs of rebelliousness, we got to take you down. What I'd like to do before I introduce this guest, um, I would like to show some examples of black excellence. Now, this isn't going to be any type of historical order, but what I want to try to do is show different examples, past, present, and future, of black people who've made had a tremendous impact in our lives as a black community and even the world abroad. That their presence has caused the world to shift. You understand? And you know, like I said, past and present, I should say, not past, present, and future. But the future is in the hands of our youth. But before I do that, let me cite a few movies that I think that if you haven't taken a look at them, that you should take a look at. One is The Queen of Katwe, and that's a movie about a young girl in an African country who becomes a chess champion. Another movie is the boy who could harness the wind, right? This is about a boy who invents this system, an irrigation system, which revives his whole village's way of living. Now, the reason why I'm citing those is because, well, they're individual examples of blacks being normal. Really, the problem is, and this isn't to say anything against the movies themselves, but this is something that I notice whenever Hollywood or anybody tries to present black people in a movie setting. It's always an exclusive, like a needle in a haystack situation. One person out of the populace, becomes a genius, and in many cases, that's not. In many cases, family. Is you in a neighborhood, you find not just one person but multiple people. You understand? That's what I'm trying to say. They make it seem like, every now and then, there's a smart black person. Every now and then there's somebody that rises up to the occasion with some type of intelligence, you understand, amongst the populace. But that's not so. We've had countless and countless and countless examples of black intellect. Let me show you what I'm talking about. And again, this isn't in any kind of order. So I'm gonna show you the pictures and try to break it down here. Here we go. Okay, many of you probably recognize this picture. This is Angela Davis, and for those that may not know, Angela Davis, she was a civil rights activist, a political and civil rights activist. Angela Davis, who rallied for racial equality and women's rights for the majority of her life. And during the 1960s, she participated and associated with several groups, including the Black Panthers, but not limited to, including the Black Panthers. That's a face that whenever you think of Black Power and just Black excellence, whenever you think of the image, she tends to be the main image that gets shown up when it comes to strong Black activist women. Um, Let me go back here, minimize that. All right. So that's one example. Another example, there's Dave Chappelle right there. We're talking about. I knew I had the picture somewhere. Anyway, Dave Chappelle. I'm gonna just have to admit he follows a long line of black excellence in the comical field, in the entertainment field. You got Cedric, you got Bernie Mac, you've got Keenan Ivory Waynes. You understand? These aren't just any type of comedians we're talking about. These are people who know how to say something. It's funny, but if you hear what they're saying, it's deep. And it's hard to do that as a comedian for some people. Some people just get up there and run their mouth. But we're talking about people who know how to make you laugh and then think, oh man, really? Like that. Dave Chappelle comes in that line. That he follows that line. That path. You understand? Like I said, Bernie Mac is another strong one, another strong name. Keenan's another strong name, and even before them, I have to say, would be the godfather of a comic. I just have to call him Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor. You understand? So these are just a few examples, family. Few examples. Let me continue on because there's more. There's more where this came from, right? Of course, you know who this is. Speaking of a comedian, but he wasn't only just a comedian. He became an activist amongst other things. That's Dick Gregory right there. Again, this is about black excellence. Why is it so hard for us to believe in ourselves? Why is it hard for us to believe in ourselves and accept us as authentic without any confirmation from anybody else? You understand? We don't need white authentication to approve of our word. If we say something, you understand, and we know that the person speaking it as a community, we know that they are credible, then we accept it. We don't need anybody else's authentication for them. Brother Dr. Sebi is yet another example of this. You understand? This brother right here, also known as Alfredo Darrington Bowman, Dr. Sevi. He was a healer and a herbalist. I want to mention a word to you that people like to use when we do something for ourselves, when we make a name for ourselves, when we stand up for ourselves. They like to use that word self-described. They say white people will say that he's a self-described healer. And this is a word that tends to be used to belittle the heavyweightiness of the person that's being talked about. To make it like, oh, he just woke up one day, got out of the bed, and said, "Okay, I'm a healer and an herbalist." No, you gotta understand these people, like Dr. Sebi, he was deep within his community. The people around him knew who he was. They recognized him. He wasn't a stranger in town. Understand? He became a stranger when also white folks got hip to him. They're like, "Oh, who is this guy? Who does he think he is?" Right? And then of course they had all kinds of things trying to break him down, right? So, Dr. Sebi is just another one. Speaking of doctors, let's I don't think it's in this order though, but let's see here. Well, still doctor in another on another level, you got the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And of course, there's many things that could be many profound things that could be said, and you may not agree with his belief system or his religious ideology or whatnot. You may not believe or agree with it, but the point is, you can't take anything away from the excellence that's come from the result of what this brother has put forth. With all due respect, the teacher of both of the late Malcolm X and also the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. You understand? Two great powerhouses that have had a dramatic impact on the way we think, on the way we operate, the way we live. Many of the people wouldn't even be avoiding the swine had it not been for these brothers right here. They wouldn't be, doing some avoiding the white girl had it not been for, brothers. I'm talking about our whole psyche was had taken on a complete upgrade. You understand? A complete upgrade when brothers like these came along with what they had. He was the one who came establishing NOI, the Nation of Islam, which thrives to this very day. Some people come along, they bring stuff into existence, and it fizzles out long, after some time, after they've gone, after the fake flame has died out. A lot of times when you get imposters, when you get people who aren't really about that thing, it fizzles out. But when somebody's coming with something that's heavy, it stays around and keeps on staying around because you got real people involved that keep it moving. You understand? So even after Elijah Muhammad, you had Minister Farrakhan pick up the torch and keep it going, and he's remained one of the most loyal representatives of the NOI to this day. You understand? To this day. I mean, like I said, I have there's things that are different in my religious philosophy. Okay, but respect is due where respect is due. You understand? These are my brothers. So yeah, Malcolm X, aka Malik El Shabazz, Louis Farrakhan, black excellence, family, black excellence. You can't take nothing from, these examples. Okay, so here we have Ida, right? Let me go back here because I had something to say about this one. I mean, oh, I said Ida. This is Francis, family, and I'm looking for my little note about Francis. Well, here's something I have right here. My little note about Francis. This is I hate when that happens because when you want to say something more. Anyway, for those that know, Frances Luella Welsing, not only was she a scholar in her own right, she was a psychiatrist as a profession and a major proponent in pro-black melanin theory. In other words, she was one of those like Dr. Layla Africa, who really broke down the nature of melanin in the black person, amongst other things. But these were some of the main things that really that they came with some power with. Um, uh, let's see here. So yeah, we want to give her. That's definitely another example of black excellence, family. Black excellence. Francis. Um, now I'm looking at my phone here. I thought another person showed up with the meeting there. Of course, my brother right here, Frederick Douglass. So regarding Frederick Douglass, as you know, an American social reformer, abolitionist, orator, writer, and statesman. And this all after escaping from slavery. You understand? This is a brother who escaped from. I mean, first you've got to be able to have a respect and understanding the heaviness of being a slave, the weight that comes with that, the type of circumstance that is, and to break away from that, and to become afterwards a reformer, an abolitionist, a speaker, a writer, a statesman. I mean, this is one of our own. This is our story. This is our story right here, family. Frederick Douglass. And of course, right there, like I said, this is past and present. Past and present, we're talking about. Of course, you know, many of you know who this is. This is the respected Grandmaster J, aka John F. Johnson, right? And for those that may not know, this person, an activist in his own right, an activist in his own right who stood up for the rights of black people to bear arms and to be able to defend themselves. And from him came the motivation and inspiration that led to the NFAC militia. And from that came the inspiration that led to many other armed black brothers and sisters to stand up and represent themselves. You understand? And many of them weren't doing this to the effect that we see now today before this brother showed up. So when this brother showed up, again, we're talking about black excellence, people who their presence, who when they came, big things happened as a result of their presence. When they showed up, big things happened. Moves were made that have affected the way our society as black people, black men and women, have operated since their presence has came. Before this brother showed up, nobody was thinking about, you know, putting boots on the ground and arming up in a way, in an organized, legal way, right? So we definitely, you know, have respect there, and that's yet another example of black excellence. Of course, you know, many of you guys, if you're not hip to, you know, some of the real hip hop, you understand? For those that know me, Questman, hip hop artist, right? And this is the genre this is the generation of hip hop that I come up out of. You understand? When I was a teen, these were some of the, you know, some of the brothers that I was listening to. So Jizza, um, well, here's what I can say about Jizza. You know what I'm saying? One of the things I can say about brother Jizza is that, you know, he was one of those. There's a lot of things I could say, but let me start somewhere. Jizza is one of those. I wanted to give you his he was known, his AKA was Gary Earl Grice. Um, when I heard him the first time, I recognized him as the Jizza or the genius of the Wu Tang Clan, right? But one of the things you may not know about Jizza is he's actually a qualified scientist. He's actually a scientist in every sense of the word. Okay, I mean, many of you, when you think of the word scientist, you might think of somebody like the white guy, Bill Nye the Science Guy, or somebody like that. Okay, and when they say something scientific, many of the so-called adherents to science, they readily take what Bill Nye says. And even, but you got DeGrasse, right? You got DeGrasse. Um, but Jizza is a scientist in his own right. You understand? He wasn't not just a hip hop artist, but a scientist in his own right. Um, let's continue. So you know, again, and if you understand the effect in the hip hop culture, the conscious hip hop culture I'm talking about of the Wu Tang Clan, then you'll understand the black excellence here. I'm going back in the past. This is Haile Selassie. He was the Ethiopian emperor, and at that time, you know, we're dealing with a time where you know, there were different types of challenges going on in the Ethiopian empire, right? Different kinds of challenges, and he was one of those that was able to harness and hold tightly to the what I want to say, the honor of the Ethiopian as Ethiopia as a country. You understand? And to this day, he has gathered. He's been an influential. Uh, um, this is after he's gone. He died in 1974, right? But the effect to this day has brought about an influence amongst especially the Rastafarian brothers and sisters all across wherever they be, especially in Jamaica. So black excellence, black excellence. Okay, let me get my notes here again. Okay. So we're looking for Ida. My notes. I had something more intensive about Ida as well. Anyway, here, Ida B. Wells Barnett. Wells spent time traveling around the world speaking and writing about civil rights issues, unfair laws, and crimes against blacks. She also became involved in politics and worked to have the social injustice come to an end. Additionally, she played a role in the fighting against lynching. She founded and was heavily involved in several organizations that encouraged the advancement of women and minorities of color. Okay. Of course, you know this. This is my beloved brother Jamal Alameen, aka H. Rap Brown. This is a younger picture of him. Imam Jamal Alameen to this day is in custody, incarcerated in prison, and has not been able to meet any form of real justice to this day. Um, and so there's been many types of movements that have tried to raise funds, that have tried to find ways to get this brother free from incarceration. And so, you know, we're not, you know, we've got brothers that are incarcerated now. You understand? But it's all following this pattern of when you stand up in a system that's clearly racist. That's without doubt. You understand? There's no doubt that we live in a systematically racist system. Then you're guaranteed that those who are in the forefront, those who are are outspoken, are going to meet with some type of challenge in their system, in their life, some way or another. Okay, then we got James Baldwin, and many of you may not know, but James Baldwin, an American novelist, playwright, essayist, poet, and activist. His essays, collected in notes of a native son, explore interest in intricacies. I can't even speak. Intricacies. Intricacies. Ah, I can't even say the word. Of racial, sexual, and class distinctions in Western society of the United States during the mid 20th century. You got to check out. He's got quite a few videos. There's quite a few videos about him, should I say, on YouTube. So check them out. Of course, here's Keenan Ivory Waynes. This goes with what I was already talking about earlier. Pioneers in the entertainment industry. He literally, you know, lifted up his entire family. You understand? Every person in his family got to eat and got to rise up because of this man right here. And not only did he make the whole country laugh and think, you understand, but he brought up his family into that too, and it kept it going, and kept it going. So you know, we got again black excellence, black excellence. Khalid Muhammad, Khalid Muhammad. So as you know, Khalid Muhammad, who came up in the nation, who came up out of the nation of Islam, ended up, you know, taking a path that he, you know, saw, you know, best was in his best interest, and out of that path, which was, you know, there were some differences of opinion between him and brother Farrakhan, but they both were able to show respect towards one another and make sure that the people knew that they were you know, said there was no beef or nothing. But this brother was a warrior. You understand? He was a scholar and he was a warrior. You understand? And you know, he lived that way and died that way. Black excellence influenced a lot of minds to stand up and shake off the cowardness. You understand that many people have. They're too afraid to stand up and not just speak out, but to do something in their community. This was a brother who wasn't on that scaredy stuff. Okay, we got the Kwame, brother Kwame. This is Kwame Nkrumah. I can't even pronounce the vowels. Nkrumah. Ghanaian politician, political theorist, and revolutionary. He was the first prime minister and president of Ghana, having led the Gold Coast to independence from Britain in 1957. So, yeah, do I need to say it again? Black excellence. Black excellence. Of course, here's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and yet, here's another example of a brother who came up under the Nation of Islam, and what makes him so unique is that he was. If you wanted to get an idea of what Elijah Muhammad taught, you understand, Louis Farrakhan was so tight to the script. You understand that you would have thought that Elijah Muhammad was somewhere in him. You know what I mean? Like deep inside him. You know, that's the type of the level of fidelity that this brother has towards his belief, because he's still alive, has towards his belief, and his words haven't shifted to this day. You understand? And that's one of the things that I have to appreciate about a person is when they are consistent with their message at every step of the way, right? So we gotta, and this is he's living is seeing his legacy manifest. He's living not only seeing the legacy that he's carried on the legacy of his teacher, but he's able to continue to see that it's still alive and thriving. The Nation of Islam is not obviously going anywhere, and it's due to the strength and the manifestation of quality that brothers like this person has demonstrated in his life. Black excellence, family. Okay, so Doctor again, Doctor Layla Africa, and this was a person who, one of the persons who my own family has really embraced when it comes to a lot of his medicinal advice. Um, so yeah, my notes are kind of all over the place right here. So anyway, he's another person. He's another outspoken doctor that breaks down the nature of the melanin in the black man and woman, and not only that, but he also talks about and I'm saying this without even I don't even need to go to the notes for this, but he he really breaks down the benefits of how to to nurture your melanin. You understand the things that are harmful to melanin. Um, hold on a second here, family. The Pretty much the superiority of melanin in our life. You understand? And it's because of this person that my spouse has insisted on some of my changes in dietary habits. You know, so I have have a great respect for brother Dr. Layla, the late Dr. Layla Africa. He's been a lot of his speeches, a lot of his talks have been fundamentally a part of our day to day intake. And of course, if you don't know who this is, you need to get out of the cave that you're living in. This is Michael Jackson. Again, this is about black excellence. You understand? About people, black men and women, who their presence on this world in this world shook things up, made a difference. You understand? Made us feel, some way about ourselves. You understand? Black excellence, family. I don't need to say too much about this person. If you don't know who this is, like I said, get out of the cave that you're living in. There's all kinds of enough said. This just be showing the picture is self-explanatory. Even with this picture of brother Malik El Shabazz, also called Malcolm X, yet another powerful, prominent late activist. You understand? Who stood up for black empowerment, who stood up for black unity, and stood up, for black excellence in that we love and appreciate ourselves. You understand? He was one of those that took a journey that of life that caused him to be able to think outside of the box a bit. You understand? He grew up. He came up. He grew up like many of us grew up. But once he took on the Nation of Islam, he became a very vigorous, flamboyant communicator. And even as he went on about his life, you understand, he continued, and every step of his way only empowered him even more, which only meant that the powers that be had to do something about that, right? And we know how that story ends. Then we got the Honorable Marcus Garvey. And Marcus Garvey from Jamaica, politician, activist, publisher, journalist, entrepreneur, and orator. He's the founder of the first president general of and the first president general of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. Um, he established himself as a provisional president of Africa. That's Marcus Garvey, and so many people, were influenced by this brother, including many, prominent NOI individuals, were influenced by the efforts that this brother came with. A lot of impact all across the black community, more than you may know. And if you don't know, you really need to do some research on this brother. And right here, I want to make sure that I pronounce this sister's name right. Her last name is kind of tricky. Anyway, Mary McLeod Bethune. I'm assuming it's pronounced Bethune. Um, anyway, Mary believed in racial justice. She worked to improve education opportunities for blacks. However, she is best known for starting a school for African American students in Daytona Beach, Florida, which is named Bethune Cookman University. Additionally, she served as the president of the National Association of Colored Women and founder of the National Council of Negro Women. Let me try to speed this up here just a little bit because I want to make sure we get our guests on. And we all know who this is. If you know anything, if you know anything, this is Maya Angelou, poet, singer, activist. You understand? Anything that goes. Anytime the black community wanted to say something for a moment or anything, Maya Angelou is one of those that come up as an inspirational source. Martin Luther King. You understand? We all know about Martin Luther King, but the part in his life, that I would like people to dig in on and look into more closely is the last parts of his life when he started to really come to terms with what was going on in the black community and it's the impact of systematic racism on the black community. You understand? When he started to recognize that, why don't you check in and look at how he felt about that? You understand? Don't just look at the dream speech. You understand? You got to look in deeper. Look how he felt about that dream later on, and then you'll realize where the black excellence started to manifest in his life. And this is the noble Drew Ali. So So anyway, Noble Drew Ali, the first teacher of the Moorish Science Temple, a beacon of light, and I'm quoting here, was a beacon of light for Black America, helping them understand their true origins by seeking knowledge of self. Ali taught that all blacks were of Moorish origins, but had their Muslim identity taken away from them through slavery and racial segregation. He advocated that they should return to the Islam of their Moorish forefathers. And he's yet another impactful person in the black community. Many people have upgraded, just completely upgraded their living standards. You understand? People, I'm talking about black people. Many black people have upgraded their living standards, their lifestyle, their pursuit of knowledge because of this brother. Let's go into the not so recent past. Okay, this one right here, Nipsey Hussle. I can only say so much about Nipsey Hussle. What I do know is that he was involved in hip hop, but I also know that he was heavily involved in community and business. This was a prominent businessman. He was someone that actually, put the boots on the ground when it comes to trying to do business related things in his community. And in my opinion, when you are in a position to influence other people to take on the torch of business, being having a business mind, again, the establishment, they feel some kind of way about that. Okay, this is the late Runoko Rashid. Many of you, you may or may not know Runoko, but he passed away literally a month ago. Literally a month ago. A historian and anthropologist determined to change the way Africa and Africans are seen in the world. Quoting him, "Black men in America, you are racially profiled. The last hired and the last fired. You are discriminated against on every level. You have the highest unemployment rate and the highest rate of incarceration. You are the last one to receive justice in the judicial system. You are even typically the first one to get killed in the movies. Race Racism underlies your entire life from the cradle to the grave. Now, how can you tell me honestly when it comes to picking a mate that you don't believe in race? You don't see color and you can't help when you fall in love with and then call me racist for pointing it out to you. Let's be real here." That's Runoko Rashid. Powerful man. Powerful man. May Allah have mercy on his soul. And this is Brother Rizza. And I'm gonna break down Rizza like this. So give me a second here. I'm gonna break down Rizza like this. Listen closely to these first bars that this brother drops. Listen very closely. Yeah, enough said, right? So, that'd be what it be, right? That'd be what it be. I hope you listened to those bars closely because, it's almost prophetic. It's almost prophet. Yeah, it is prophetic. You understand? It is prophetic. So let me try to we got the brother there. One second. We got our brother in the room. I'm going to introduce him in just a second. Hang tight. Hang tight. Let me close that out. All right. So anyway, Rizza, also a prominent member of not only the prominent but the founding member of the Wu Tang Clan. The Wu Tang Clan. Um, that was, like I said, this, all I can say about that is these were some of the people in my time that when I think of hip hop, when I think of conscious hip hop, you understand, these are some of the people that come to mind, amongst others. But these are some of the people that not only represented conscious hip hop, but a unified, you understand, body of lyrical scholars. You understand? They're scholars. These brothers are scholars. You have to understand. Don't just get caught up in the groove of the music, the rhythm, but really try to understand what it takes to say the things that these brothers are saying. What it takes to be able to deliver that type of content. It takes a scholarly mind. Not anybody can just, drop knowledge unless you have knowledge first. So anyway, you know, Bobby Digital, aka Robert Fitzgerald Diggs, aka RZA of the Wu Tang Clan, Black Excellence. Okay, here we have Shahrazad Ali, Sister Shahrazad. Um, One of the things I can say about her is she was definitely influential with waking up the sisters, to black excellence as a woman. You understand, being able to understand, herself and her relationship with the black man, and how to treat one another, how to respect one another. Sister Shahrazad, I can't even, Shahrazad. That's how it's pronounced, Shahrazad. Um, is I mean, you got to check her out. You got to make sure you check out lectures that she's given, because they're very powerful, and they're very uplifting and restoring. You understand, restoring a person, getting a person back on their square, especially the sisters out there. Make sure you take note. So of course we got Snoop. What can I say about Snoop? Again, this is an individual who came up and just kept on coming up and kept on coming up. And to this day, you understand, he's one of those one of those people, one of those individuals that remains themselves. They don't, you haven't seen him become someone else throughout the time. Every time you look at this person, this is Snoop Dogg, right? You always see the same person. And to me, that's an example of being authentic, at least within oneself, right? I think I'm nearly done. Oh yeah, how can I go about mentioning Tupac Shakur? I have to say that not only was he a lyricist, but he was an activist as well. There are brothers and sisters who, to this day, memorize his verse biblically. You understand? Like many of us, you got those who can recite the Quran, who memorize the entire Quran, or people who memorize every verse in the Bible. So there are people who memorize every single lyric that Tupac has ever presented, because of their respect for him, because he was able. So many people speak, but many people aren't capable of connecting to the people that need to be spoken to, that need to hear it most. And that's the people on the lowest level in the streets. And this is one individual who, whose message, you understand, may not be agreed by all the well-to-do, the uppity class people, but the people, that hold all this up, the people at the bottom, everyone, they were able to relate with this brother scholarly. So you can call it, like I said, this is yet another scholarly example that goes down in history as black excellence, family. And then I gotta mention our brother who's I mean, heavy, 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 heavy boots on the ground right now as we speak. As we speak, the brothers boots on the ground representing the cause, understand, standing up, for, in the medical field, you know, keeping our minds, aware and alert to the poisons that the system is trying to drape us off into taking and to, partaking in. You got to check out the brother. They've been trying to cancel this brother IG so many times, so many times. They've been trying to silence this brother so many times, because they know the brother's voice is having a dramatic impact on the hearts and minds of people, keeping them awake. You understand? Keeping the family awake. They don't want people to be awake. They want people to be asleep, because it's easier to deceive the people and get them to do what you want them to do. This brother's keeping you awake, so you say, no, 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 I don't want that jab. Go ahead and take that back. Boots on the ground right now. And it's big. I mean, just all I can say is, brother, keep it going. Keep it going. Okay, you got Eddie Murphy. Another example of black excellence. You understand? And this is this is the entertainment field. But there's so much that this brother's been has done. You understand, to affect other black people of his time. He's still alive. You understand, that you have to give credit due where credit's due. Many of you may not know who this brother is, but I have to give a shout out to this brother. This is Kevin Samuels, a very very impressive brother. It's scholarly, in my opinion. This is a scholarly brother. This is a brother who has been paying attention to the nature between the black man and the black woman. You understand? Who's paid attention to the nature of the black man and the black woman to such a degree to be able to break down critically the hangups that many have, you understand, in the nature of a relationship. You may not agree with his approach. You may not even agree with what he has to say. But you have to give credit due where credit's due when it comes to being a black scholar. This is just another example, family. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to take just a short, tiny break, and then when I come back, I'll be able to introduce our guests. Okay. Yeah. Boom. Oh, there we go. Now they can hear me. Let me say that again for those that couldn't hear what I was talking about. You just saw my mouth moving, but you couldn't hear what I was saying. Um, this right here is our guest. This is Brother Firestar, and I'm not going to do the introduce. I'm not going to describe him. I'm gonna let him introduce himself and talk about who he is. So first of all, welcome, brother Firestar, and to this platform. And it's a pleasure to have you here. Tell the people something about yourself. Who is Firestar? Hold on. Say that again.
I
Okay.
said, "What's up, everybody? Thank you for having me on. Uh,
And it's
my personal journey in this life has been one of a lot of hardships, as most of us have. But through those hardships, I have had the ability to kind of uh, diffuse some of my hardships effect into my skill set. You know, but some people have regarded me as being some kind of hood genius. Some people have regarded me as being, I don't know, a weirdo. I don't know.
where are you from?
Um, I'm from North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah.
Um, Now, one of the things I remember you were building on at one time was how I first met you or learned of you was through your lives that you were given that you were doing, and in addition to some of the activity that was going on. In the movement, the militia movement, and things of that nature. You were also building on language.
Uh-huh.
Are you still working with language? And can you break that down? What's that about?
Uh, I created a language like maybe 20 years ago or over 20 years ago, but many of the final upgrades and the final metamorphoses pieces they came into play maybe I'd say 14 years ago.
Hmm.
So my kids were born. I spoke that to them pretty much all the time, all day.
Does the language does it have a name?
Yes, the name of the language is Yohi,
It
and
says Yohi.
yeah, that's the name of it. And it's written in three forms. You have the pinyin form.
Hmm.
But in my language, we call it Joyin. Pinyin is like Mandarin when you write it out in English, but you put the tones over the vowels, so
Yeah.
you know so you know how to change your tone when you're saying a specific word. Um, we have the pinyin, aka Joyin, and then we have excuse me, we have the computer version, which is Coco Chom, and then we have the origin version of the language in basic, the the Yohi characters, which is called the Woigo. Uh, it's written in three forms, kind of like Japanese. Japanese, you have katakana, you got haranga, and then you have romanji. So you can write it in three different forms, but it's it has begotten very complex,
Hmm.
and people who see it, they think it's Chinese, they think it's Mandarin, and when they hear it, they think it's kind of Mandarin, but it's really not. Like man, like Chinese people, they'll hear me talking to my kids, and they'll be like, something is familiar, but they know we're not speaking their language.
Yeah. What
Yeah,
what what made you you know do this? What's the reason behind this?
Haitian to speak English, it's just it does not match. I look in the mirror and I see something, that's not quite equal to the language that I'm speaking.
Hmm.
If you get what I'm saying, it's like when you look at Chinese people or Japanese or Korean or even the many thousands of different groups of Africans, okay, even though you have their differences, the thousands of groups of Africans, they have their specific differences as well. And all of their languages are complex and not simple at all by a long shot.
Right.
And studying language as a younger person, I realized that
Well, I'll tell you this. The reason why this is so intriguing to me, as an observer, is I'm seeing a brother, who is uh, uh, talented on multiple levels. Talented in the sense that, like I said, my first uh, viewing of you is as a soldier. You understand? Who knows how to use what he has, knows the equipment, knows the different types of the artillery that you have at your disposal, and then at the same time we have a person who has literally from the root up designed a language system. You know what I'm saying? That's like two major feats right here. One being a soldier all by itself is something that's noteworthy and courageous. But to know that the soldier that we're talking about created or designed a language system, and I wish. Do you have anything that you can show us? Because the reason why I'm asking is because if I mean, it's easy for us to hear you say it, talk about it, but if people could really grasp the complexity, the nature of this, I think it will get. They would be able to. Those with scholarly minds would be able to have an appreciation. You understand for what it takes to do something like that. You understand what I'm saying? Do you have
yeah,
any
yeah,
example?
yeah, I have something. Let me get it real quick. Let me see.
Sure. And by the way, family, those viewing, you're able to participate in this live. If you look earlier in the video, I give an example on how that can be done. Um, you simply, if you're a member of Soul Journey of Life, sign up. If you're not, or if you're a member, just log in. If you're not, sign up. And once you're logged in, just follow the steps that I've given. Village Circle Meeting Tree is where we are on Soul Journey of Life. That's how you're seeing our brother right now. You're seeing him. You're watching him from the Soul Journey of Life platform. And this allows us to be able to have our own conversation amongst ourselves without anybody getting in the way. You understand? We could talk as we please, respectfully. All right. So what do we have? What do we have here?
All right. So here,
Wow.
this is the computer original version. So
Mm-hmm.
this is what you write on a computer.
You're talking about the one that's in your that's in red.
No, all of it.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. There's two different books.
Mm-hmm.
So this book is basically this is this typeface or the character set is called Coco Chong. So it's
Mm-hmm.
Coco Chong Jabe. Okay, and I don't know, maybe many of you will recognize this character on my shirt. You know, it represents the number 1 million.
1 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
1 million strong.
I've always had that on my shirt. You know, so this is basically the characters. Like in this is the start of the book. The character set. Okay, the words, the characters that you're going to use. This character's name Anna, and you have the four dots. Well, you have four dots, three, two, and one. They represent the tones.
So how were you able, what I'm wondering is how were you able to establish where you can recognize what letter, what shape means what, and it looks like each of them has a sound, right? Each
Yeah.
each character. Is that like what we could call like an ideogram?
These are not, but I try to steer away from calling characters letters
Yeah.
because that's Greekish.
Right. And you know what? I was talking about that at a time where I was explaining how these so quote unquote uh, Roman characters that we use in the English language
Yeah.
are symbols. Each
Right.
each letter, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, in and of itself are symbols.
Yeah.
And at one time, they were similar to ideograms and became, the complex thing that we
Yeah.
call English today.
Yeah. A lot of the characters behind English come from Arabic, like the number system.
Yeah.
You have some of the characters, that in some way were influenced by Arabic, but there's not much that that comes from English that is really unique,
Hmm.
other than the goofy system where you have the silent letters where you have the silent characters like P when it's in front of pneumonia, or
Hmm.
you have the X that's silent in xylophone, or you have the H that's silent in ghost. Like that insanity, that's very unique to English. But
Well, brother, what I can tell you is I think that language. See, I study language myself.
yeah,
Kiswahili and Arabia, right?
yeah,
And in particular with the Arabia, I study it grammatically. So why am I saying that? Because from me seeing what you've shown now is, you know, I have to appreciate what I've, because I understand how complex the Arabic system is.
right,
The triliteral roots of each word, and uh, how the suffixes, infixes, and prefixes work.
Yeah.
Um, and so when I'm seeing that, I'm just imagining the level of complexity that's deep in there. All the things that has to be observed, when dealing with pronouncing a word or speaking a word or putting certain characters together. That is next level intelligence. You understand? And I think that the black community needs to be able to appreciate to see why that's something to be appreciated. Um, Now, based upon the things that I've been talking about in this particular live, aside from yourself, do you have any individuals that you would identify or that you can identify as examples of black excellence?
Mm, I would say, I would say Prince.
Prince. Hold on a
Yeah,
second. Let me see if I can
I would
find.
say Prince because he's a fellow musician. And seeing is how I play. And I sing all my parts and play all my instruments and do all my things for my music or what. You
Hmm.
know, people have thought I had a band. I don't have a band. It's just me. You know,
Let's
I
see. There's Prince right here.
yeah, I see
Uh,
him as you know a very strong ideology. Well, ideal figure of personal determination. Like you're just going to be determined to, you know, break and defy odds. He did that when he was fighting against the music industry. You know,
so you would say that he's a rebel to the perceived norm of society of his time.
yeah, he always was. He always was. It just he did not necessarily have the timing or in which he could enact his activism. During the 70s and the 80s, it wasn't really the time. But when the time came, he stood up.
And I think I could definitely understand you because he always came, in my perception, of an individual who recognized um, the assumptions that people make in life. You understand? When they see people, there's certain things that you see a person, and the majority of people, they tend to have a blind assumption or a blind idea about what they think they're seeing. And instead of fact finding, instead of getting to know, they just carry on these assumptions. And when you don't live according to their assumptions, they become upset. Like,
Right.
wait a minute, you weren't supposed to be like that because we thought you're like this. And
Right.
Prince knew that. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, that's your fault that you was thinking that way. This is how I am. This is what I do.
It's kind of it kind of goes hand in hand with how we used to dress.
Yeah, yeah.
We see that in the depiction of the Dave Chappelle video where they were playing the basketball game, and a lot of people would think that just because Prince was very short in person that he didn't really have any physical skills, but he was actually a superb and superior basketball player.
Right.
And he proved that many times. Like my kid's mom, when we were married, Prince came here to the radio station and they got to interview him. And he's a very powerful individual to get close to him. He's very powerful.
Well, brother, why do you think we have a hard time believing in our authority, our own authenticity? Why do we have a hard time believing in our scholarship, our knowledge?
We have been in a, I'll say, when the first form of psychology, well, modern day Caucasian led psychology appeared, uh, we were under the microscope, and they
Hmm.
have been experimenting on us and our psyche ever since, because they saw and learned the power of psychology. Once they realized that they could control people with psychology and the study of people, you know, we were those individuals that they were, trying to control. So it behooved them that they better master the schools of psychology, and they did. And through them mastering that, they figured out how to destroy our confidence within ourselves. They figured out how to debase and dethrone the man of our homes as the head of relationships and the head of proper decision making. We can
Yeah.
see that when you're talking about Kevin Samuels. He's asking these men, why are you accepting, certain types of behavior? Why are you acting in such a way? Why are you, carrying on these destructive behaviors that put you in bad positions later? Okay, we
Right.
can see that all of those things coincide, okay, with the bad psychology, with them destroying us and taking our authority away. That's where our authority went. We used to be, when he talks about the high value man, it's not that he's saying, okay, we're all supposed to be that.
Yeah.
No, he's saying that, we as men, we carry the authority of society. We are the protectors, we are the providers, we are those who bring provision, be it through finance or be it through, knowledge giving.
Right.
So once we take our authority as men and give it to another man, which is the white man. That's why they call him the man.
Right.
Okay. Once we take that away, or they take it away and debase us and put themselves as the ultimate leader, this is why we always have these individuals that perform the notion that the Caucasians ISIS always colder. This is
Mm.
why we have that. A black man could come up with, you know, something that is more ingenious than Asian
Yeah.
nations have ever seen. But because Mr. Caucasian did not put his Caucasian stamp of approval on it, then it's obviously worthless. You know,
You know, that brings me to a point here where I think what's happened, the one reason why we doubt ourselves is because we've forgotten how to recognize our own way of scholarship, our own way of excellence and knowledge, and we've been misprogrammed to interpret um, qualified uh, expertise through the lens, the corrupted lens of the establishment, of the racist white establishment. So we put all of our measuring systems, is what I'm saying, our way of measuring and slicing up quality is through their eyes and not our ancestral eyes. Does
right?
that make sense?
Yeah. If you
Go ahead.
if you look back at the Naztec times,
Hmm.
you can look back at Teotihuacan.
Hmm. Hmm.
You can look back at all of those, creations that were there. You know, they give they give rise to many notions of, alien civilizations and all this junk. I don't doubt it because, first of all, this planet is far more complex than we will ever know,
Yeah.
and our lifetime is not long enough to find those facts out. It's just not. And obviously they have not been smart enough, or they are smart enough but they just cannot admit the truth because it puts them in a position of subservience.
Yeah.
We here as black people, we have created numbers of things,
Yeah.
and nobody else has been in the seat along with us to say that they're able to claim uh, co-ownership. Like Caucasians are only what, 7, 8,000 years old.
Hmm.
Okay, so all that long time before, what were we doing? We were creating. We were up one civilization, down another civilization. Up one civilization, down another. It's a pattern. It always happens like that. Civilizations come and then they go. Then they come again and they go. Knowledge does the same thing. We have genius periods, and then we have, where we're just living in the woods for a while, and then we have our
You know
genius.
what? I think that, we have to find a way to restore our sense of our right brainedness. You understand? Our
Yeah.
sense of the way we take on what we see. And because our ancestors did things in a way that it was meant to remind generations to the end of times, where you could see the glyphs, you could see the ideograms, you could see they didn't, choose stone, for example, randomly. To say
Right.
we need to pass down some information because we know that one day, based upon the prophecies we're seeing right now,
Hmm.
our children are going to need to know. But we just
Right.
got to find a way that we know that they can connect with because
Hmm.
this is the method. So let's go ahead and put these ideograms like this. They'll if it passes time, all they have to do is tap into their way of thought, breaking away from foreign methods of thought. Take for example, how a person can use poetry to tell you how to build a house, but when the layperson hears that same poem, all they hear is something that sounds entertaining.
Right.
They didn't hear anything. They didn't catch on to the parts that are hidden in there of how to build a house. A moment ago, I was showing brother Rizza. I'm talking about not Rizza Islam, but Rizza Bobby Digital Robert,
Right.
right?
Right.
And if you just hear, it gets almost biblical in my time. And you look like you're about my age range. Um, when we would hear groups like this was these are the people we tapped into. You understand?
Hmm.
While everybody was listening to the West Coast, East Coast beef and all this and that, we was listening to this and in the library and digging,
Right.
into the books because we heard words, we heard sound
Right.
bites. Like, what did he just say? Hold on. Oh, and it'd be like that. And next thing you know, connect the dots, put the pieces together, and we realized that they done took it to a whole. That's what we would say too. They just took it to a whole nother level. That's next level right there.
Right.
Um, and showing you how just in a deliverance of was it 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minute song. You understand? How much can be squeezed in there to be downloaded for you to think about later. And then once you do, you understand, it takes you, like I said, to a whole nother level of operation of everything. Um, I remember a brother once told me, is there, one of the ways of wisdom is to figure out how to say a lot in a little.
Hmm.
Right, and that's always been a challenge because I'm a speaky person, right? I've given lectures. I'm an imam, right? I've given khutbahs and lectures and talks, and the challenge is it's always been, how can I say this in 30 minutes? I got 30 minutes, 45, 30 minutes to work with, and I want to say all this, but how? And so um, I'm looking at our ancestors, and I'm speaking to you as an artist, where I would paint pictures, and in the pictures, I'm saying so much that I know. You understand? Now, the next person, unless he understands me or she understands me, they'll look at the picture and it's pretty, it's nice. But
Hmm.
everything in the picture is me saying something. Everything, that's visible is me saying, even things that are intentionally not visible is me saying something. And I learned this um, ancestrally from some of our ancestors. Same with my poems. I learned this where, they would pass down knowledge just like that. And here's the thing: I'm gonna show you how what this means to me, real quick, if I can. Again, trying to put this in a small bubble, a small shape, a small Kaaba, small square, right? Cube, where if I speak something of my mind, I say something to you, and oh man, I gotta get this out. I gotta explain it right. our ancestors would be able to say a thing in a way where it may sound even silly, or it may sound like it's just about rhythm, or like I said, it may just have a pretty appearance or a creative appearance. But here's a good example. Many people are the fools, the masses, the foolish ones, argue and debate about the stories of the Quran, the stories of the Bible, right?
Hmm. Right.
And whether or not this happened in history or didn't.
Yeah.
And for me, I don't think it has anything to do with history. I don't think a single story has, whether it's historically relevant or not, but I don't think that's why they're there. You understand? There's symbols. Something where you could tell me a story. You understand? Describe a story to me in a way, but it's not the historical element of the story. You're really telling me, for example, let's say I wanted to tell you to watch out when you cross the street. You understand? But instead, I tell you a story about why did the chicken cross the road. And in that, you just understood somehow what I meant. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
I'm telling you one thing that has certain words in it that only you would understand. Only the listener, only the person this message is intended to would understand.
Right.
And that's what I see through hieroglyphs, through so-called religious scriptures, so-called, all these things that work this way is an ancestral attempt to uh, thumb drive what they had to pass it down to our generations. It's almost like I said. You got to think about it like this, if you could. If our ancestors was as wise and enlightened as we know as we understood them to be, wouldn't they understand the signs of the times?
Mm.
Wouldn't they have the enlightenment to know that, oh man, you, they would just look out the window one day and just, oh, Baba, what happened? I just saw it. Your generation is going to get lost,
Mm.
dumb, deaf, and blind. I saw it. The way the sun was setting, I saw this shadow cross the forest, and right there it was. The little rabbit hopped out and got snatched out by the wolf. But Papa, how did you see all that from that? I just, it was intuitive. It hit me like inspiration. One day, but Papa, how am I going to be? How am I going to be snatched? How am I going to? It's in you. It's through you. So what you have to do, my son, is leave behind things that when your seed see it, they will remember and recall who they are and be able to restore themselves, be able to reawaken. That's the only way. They won't all respond. They won't all be able to hear because many of them will have been tricked and draped off by the deception of the wolf. All the same, you gotta leave. You gotta communicate it. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Break me down for me. Break it down. What am I saying?
Yeah.
What's the point in what I'm saying? Because some of the viewers might be like, what is this brother talking about? What am I saying?
The kids, man. A lot of these young kids, they don't really have an understanding of anything really.
Hmm.
They think that Google has all the answers. And truthfully speaking, it's not necessarily in Google. It's you taking a conglomeration of all knowledge and pushing it in one place. That does not make one person smarter. It just means that everybody has chipped their knowledge in,
Yeah.
but not made their brother smarter instead. Okay? When these kids see the hieroglyphs and the pyramids and the things of the past, a lot of them just see old junk
Yeah.
because we the older generation failed to tell us, you know, to look back.
Yeah.
They failed to tell us the tales and to remind us of who we are. They forgot to do it.
Yeah.
So
Have you ever played any race car games, video games?
yeah,
You ever notice as you're driving in the game, there's you get to a part of the road where these arrows point, like let's say you got a curve, a right turn, you got an arrow that's pointing that direction, and you
Mm-hmm.
know by default that that arrow means turn right. But
Right.
what about that arrow makes that so? What told you? How did you learn that that arrow means turn right?
See, that's the thing. Your parents, your elders have to tell you. See, yeah, you have the glyphs and the statues and the pyramids and all this other stuff that was created, but if the ones who brought you here are not educating you on what those things are, they can exist as long as they want to.
Yeah,
You
but
still not gonna know what it is.
that's what I'm getting at. When we look at our parents pointing, it's instinctively we look in the direct. They've shown how when a parent points, the baby, if he if he's reached a certain level of mental development, he looks in the direction of the. We don't just look at the finger pointing, but he actually looks in the direction of where it's going pointing towards.
Right.
I'm saying this for a reason because in our youthful nature, are very strong keys. So that if we based upon this grade of conversation, if we were to look at the pyramids, for example, it's almost like I'm looking at that arrow on the racetrack. You understand? I'm looking at this arrow on the racetrack, especially when, astronomically we see that they're positioned in a certain way that matches the belt of Orion, right? And by the way, Orion, that particular area was named after us originally. Kemet. Is the name of that belt,
Right.
ancestrally. So everywhere you look, there's an old saying, a Quranic saying to be exact. We will show you our signs within yourself and within the horizons within yourself until it is clear to you that is the truth, right? Within yourself and the horizons, wherever I look, there's signs, there's things that point to the wisdom that I need, to behold. Now, let me move on just a little bit. Going towards the nature of the conversation, black excellence. We do this naturally, and often we don't recognize that we did it. We will master stuff that we do something so well that we will master the methods or the culture of other people. Just like I mentioned to you about Arabia. It's not my ancestral language, but Atakallamu Lugato Arabia, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could do something like that, and then some Philistine, some Palestinian brothers will look and be like, "Oh, brother, alhamdulillah." They'll get amused. Like,
Right.
brother, where are you from? This is what I get all the time. Where are you from, brother? Brother, where are you from? And the thing that I'm noticing is that when we show our wits, it tends to be impressive to others, but the question always ends up being because of this misperception that we have upon us nowadays. How are we doing this? How
Right.
are we showing this grade of excellence? Let me show you something real quick. Let me show you something as an example. And what I'm going to show you, I want you to watch the faces of those who aren't the black person that's the center of attention here. Just watch
Yeah.
this. Let's see here. Not that one. Okay, let's go to this one.
제주꾼이야 제주꾼.
살다가 김진우 아까 살다가
갑자기
그거 아주
와 소울.
진짜 감정 몰입하고
감정이 장난이 아닌
한국어로 감정이 있으셨네.
이 나라 말도 아닌데 대단한 거.
Look at their faces. Check this out.
살아도 사는 게 아니래 없는 하늘에
말이 안 돼.
잠 없는 감옥 같아서 사랑해도 말 못했던 나
슬픔을 알아.
내색조차 알 수 없던 나 잠이 드는 순간조차 그리웠었지. 살다가 너 힘들 때 나로 인한 슬픔으로 후련할 때까지 울다가 너 지칠 때 정 힘들면 단 한 번만 기억하겠니 우리 마지못해.
Okay. Did you pay attention to the faces? This brother is singing this song in Korean.
Yeah, speaking Hungary.
Before he started singing, you know, he had a bunch of faces full of doubt, full of suspicion, full of what is he going to do?
He's probably gonna beatbox.
Right. They probably thought he was going to beatbox or rap or something like that.
He's gonna breakdance real quick.
But then he started busting out that Korean note. And even the lady had to look at him twice. You understand?
Yeah,
But that's what I mean. Tell me, break down what you saw.
I mean, that happened to me in real life. You know, my days as a Marine. You know, back in the earlier 2000s, because I mean we're still early 2000s, but
Yeah.
you know, back when I was a Marine, I'll be on duty, on 24-hour duty at the barracks, and at the barracks you have to basically be the face of, you know, everything that everyone has to come through. So if people are making deliveries, you gotta come through you. People are dropping off food, they gotta come through you. If they're looking for somebody, they gotta come through you.
Yeah.
So somebody ordered some Chinese food, and the little Chinese man came up there. He couldn't speak any English like that, and I walked up behind him, and I started speaking Mandarin to him. And the first thing he did was he looked around. He was like, I'm like, bro, I'm the only person here. And he's like, just neither. Yeah, just what? Yeah. And I asked him what was going on, who the order was for, and all of that stuff, you know. And, you know, it was just fascinating to him because, you know, according to them, you know, it's unspoken, they speak it in the house, you know, Negroes, so-called black people, we're not supposed to be smart. We're like
Right.
the perpetual slave for everyone. We are the perpetual, you know, doormat for everyone to walk on. Or we never have enough sense to free ourselves. We never have enough sense to make tools
Or to unify.
Or to unify, you know, simple, sweet. We never have the intellect to do such, and damn sure you can't speak my language. I don't know how many times I have asked Africans to be, hey, bro, teach me a phrase in your language. Teach me a couple of, you know, words. They be like, oh, no, my brother, you are not. It is too complicated for you. You will never learn it. No, my brother. I'm like, bro.
I experienced a similar thing when I was in Djibouti. And literally, the thing about the Djibouti is that their languages are primarily Somali and French, right? Then you have some Arabia and Oromo and Afar. And, you know, I don't know any French. Jacob Rinpa, right? Except that. Except to tell them that I don't understand Jacob Rinpa. And it was funny because when I start speaking Arabic or something to anybody, you know, they give me a similar response to what you're saying. You know, they look at me and it's like, where are you, like I said, where are you from or something of that nature, as if they were expecting, you know, that this is going to come from a source like this. Now, I'm glad that you mentioned the Mandarin part. Because I have yet another video, and this brother is not only speaking Mandarin, but he's speaking a variety of Asiatic languages. And the people that he's encountering, I mean, just watch it real quick. Let's see. Hold on.
Yeah, I know him. His name is
Yeah, I know. I figured you would know. Let's hear. And I heard he passed away.
Huh?
I heard this brother passed away. That's what I saw a video about this, and I'm not sure how authentic it is, but it seemed like a person that was like someone who was learning from him. That was he was like in tears and everything. But hold on, I'm gonna bring it up here in just a second. Um,
Let me look that up real quick.
Lao Shu
Yeah, lost it.
is the YouTube. So let's check this out real quick, and then we gotta build on it here. I gotta do that, and then that, not that, but this. Okay. So here, this brother, black man speaks 10 different languages with different foreigners. Let's check it out.
How did you speak it? So how do you? My whole day up, yeah. Yeah, big night. Say the hi. Say the hi. Say the hi.
Say Thai.
Say hi. Say the hi. Hop mommy.
Oh, say Thai. I can't. I cannot hear you for what? That's pretty good.
mahal sana. Waxaan baranayaa Soomaaliga.
That's good.
Yes. Qoro. What do I want to say? Add you add. Xiisu badan.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I like you guys' masks.
Thank you.
Commercial.
You guys bought the clothes?
Yeah, some computers.
Oh.
Where you from? You come from Tamil Nadu?
No,
Oh.
not from Canada. I'm from north of India, like
Oh. Sab ठीक है?
सब ठीक है सर.
सब ठीक है?
So you understand Hindi then?
क्योंकि मैं हिंदी और
Well,
दूसरे भाषाएं पढ़ रहा हूँ.
y'all
Yeah.
can check this video out. You can see the I think you can see the title down there. Black man speaks 10 different languages. And I mean, it's really impressive because I mean, he's like real. I mean, it's authentic. You understand what I'm saying? He's really authentic with it. You wouldn't. I mean, it's not. He's not an amateur.
Right.
You understand? He's very, very, very skilled. But it just goes to show, the levels that we can go. And I think that many of us, we, like I said, we don't believe in ourselves enough, and so we think that it's kind of like how can I put it? There's a wall, and we think that this wall is something we can't climb over it, and we can't go, we can't do anything. We're just stuck, and only to find out that that wall is made of paper. You
Well,
understand? That you can kick through and keep on moving. We don't believe in ourselves enough. What's the deal?
bro, this just messed me up a little bit, man. It's just messed me up, man. Like this dude, he actually died on March the 4th, man.
Yeah. Oh, you found it. You found it. Okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
literally, because I came back across this video. Somebody sent me one of his videos. I was like, yeah, I know this dude. My kids have been watching him for at least 10 years. But I was going to have him, learn my language and put it as one of his language learning courses on his site, on his website.
Mm-hmm.
That made me. That's wow. You gone, man. But this highlights, the when he was in the store, and the lady, when he was speaking Somali to the lady, okay,
Yeah.
they know exactly what you're saying. Okay, they know exactly what you're saying. It's just that they cannot psychologically, they cannot accept that
you're
connection
saying
from you.
it.
Right?
Right.
They can't accept it from you. Oh, Somalians are told the Black Americans, oh, those are niggas, those are slaves. They're too dumb to know how to speak our language. The Chinese are told the same thing. The Koreans are told the same thing. I have worked with Korean dude for at least 16, 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he says words that I know, I just never tried to pronounce them, but I can write Hangul. He knows that. He knows I can understand. Sometimes he speaks to me in Hangul. Sometimes he will, try to, work it out in English. He's not really good at it. So,
Mm.
but he knows that. He knows I speak a bunch of different languages. He knows that. You see what I'm saying? So,
So you said you met him before, like personally?
no, I not meet Laoshu. I was going to have him, reach out to him and have him teach my language.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna have him do that. I mean, what better candidate to do that? Like he's obviously a black man. He obviously knows exactly what he's doing. It's like I know how he's doing what he's doing. It's just that I do not have the platform to show people how he's doing what he's doing. Like it's
Mm.
this like okay, with mine, I noticed that if you talk to Asians and you ask them how easy it is to learn English,
Yeah.
they'll say it's hard, and you'll be like, huh? Well, you a smart Asian. How is English hard? Because they'll say, well, English is stupid. It's engineered horribly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you have multiple words you have multiple meanings for the same word. It's not
Right.
even the word does not even have different tones. It's just exactly the same word, but you got different meanings for it. Like what the hell do you mean? And then you have different pronunciations of the same word. So like
Let me brighten up the mood here. I want to show you something.
yeah,
Now, I don't speak Somali, right? But
right,
I'm just going to show you an example of what happens when we use our mind when we dig inside and say, look, I'm a hip hop artist. I'm a lyricist. Here I have a spouse who at that time she speaks Somali, right? So I wanted to do something that demonstrated, my regard for the language being spoken. So I said, well, look, I can't speak Somali, but I'm about to drop a rhyme in Somali, right? Check this out. I'm not going to say too much about it. I'm going to just let my evidence show, right? Let me go back here. Check this out.
Aha. Quest Man. Djibouti.
I'm in Djibouti when I did this.
Wahandolia malingwa naksan. Wahandolia habingwa naksan. Wahakurata doni wakasta. Sa ineno kota. Wahandolia malingwa naksan. Wahandolia habingwa naksan. Wahankurata doni wakasta. Sa ineno kota. Adonka manta dagal iyo de digi iya date manta wanaku ila mafa mayo siyasa lagu kelsonin adonyada iya risan GMG iya warasan hadma iyo dagalko joksaneya mahal okanda bahina yan gaan kurata nokona tikrat kurata nokona kalbi kurata nokona lakalla Sada Rashida Ijobiyaha O Analtimo Logo Nolada Ija Wanagsan Rabbana Ikfillana La Hala Wala Quwata Illa Billah Wahandolia Madin Wanagsan Wahandolia Habin Wanagsan Wahakurata Doni Wakasta Sa Ineno Kota Wahandolia Madin Wanagsan Wahandolia Habin Wanagsan Wahankurata Doni Wakasta inenokota ونوير خلية تنيوة فكرة ديدي هادت فرتيد إند هاga موريا دا إج فيت نادا مدربتا إندك بحديد دي باتا سجود إله أوغوين سجود إله أوغوين جوجي وحد سمينيسي تاغا doko ni mada doko maha wado kalaka nabiga wadiva amalinda kiyamaha tukomanta si data hai malinda di kugu damba sai hajibsan wahai leyihin kakolaha iyo indolaha mahadala iskala iyo ubada
Okay, enough of that.
Mm,
That took me back there a little bit. Oh, look how young I am right there. You can't get any younger. That's for sure.
yeah,
Can't get any
yeah.
younger. But yeah, so that's that. But all Shalom, Shalom, D Marie, welcome, welcome. So that's just an example, and that was a lot more complicated than what it looks like. You understand? Because like I said, I don't speak any Somali. All I had was like what I was able to grasp. Understand from my spouse at the time, right?
Right,
And I built on that. I even went around, my brother-in-laws and my cousin-in-laws or whatnot, asking them certain terminology, certain phrases, because my thing was to stick with my style. That's what my challenge was, to stick with my style. You know what I mean? I have a certain way of words because I deal with symbols and poems and things, like pass me the candle lit. My four looks tattered and surrounded, miss. Pick up the reed, watch the ink spill off the ancient gift. Right? So I have a certain way. And I wanted to try to demonstrate that same thing, but using Somali as the vehicle. The
right.
other part about this is like you said, there's a certain sound, a way of sound in languages that's not like English.
Hmm.
So when you want to say something that might be intended to be aggressive, it may not be uh, the strength of your voice that gets the point
Right,
across. It could be the
exactly.
sound, the way the choice of word, and the sound behind that word. You understand?
Yeah,
That lets the person know, hey, it's dangerous in there. You understand? Here in English, we gotta use words and put that exclamation point to give you the idea that something loud was said or something dramatic was going on. Watch
right,
out, right?
right,
So, to be able to take that and be Questman at the same time while delivering it that way was a challenge. But I did it, and I was so excited about it because all the pieces connected together. Um, I'm trying to do something similar in Kiswahili as well.
hmm,
Um, but again, like I said, these are things that what it tells me, and this is something I've always believed about myself. Whenever I intend to do something, if I say, okay, I want to do this, even my whole trip to Africa was something that many of my folks here couldn't believe could be done. You
right,
understand? There were folks telling me like, "Oh man, brother, you ain't never going to Africa, man. What are you talking about? You ain't never going to no Africa. What you
right,
doing in Africa? What you want to go to Africa for?" Right? This is how they would talk to me because to them it's far fetched. It's far fetched to do
yeah,
to think beyond the borders, so to speak, to reach further is something that's far fetched in many of our minds. So
right,
when we think of something that is other than staying on the porch looking at the street, you know, um, I remember, I used to tell people, I said, look, man, if I leave and we part ways for 10 years, and I come back in town, and you're still doing the same thing on the same porch in the same house, something ain't right. If I done
right.
traveled to Istanbul, to Djibouti, to Jeddah, to Addis Ababa, and I come back, you're still doing the
Still,
same. I'm like,
still.
oh man, this is what because we don't believe that we could do more than that.
Nope.
I even mentioned this to the woman that gave birth to me, and I said, look, with all due respect, I said, why don't you just come and see? I don't know, man. I don't know. I might not like it. I might, culture shock. I said, you won't know until you come. I said, oh, you guessing. You going by what you see on TV. You understand? You going by all that. I said, it's not like that. When you put your shoes on the ground, it's nothing like what you are imagining it to be. I said,
Right.
yeah, there's a real life to this. Just like when you go to the hood, there's a real life. There's real stuff going on. You know what I mean? But it doesn't match the bogus depictions that those that would wish us divided keep on putting in front of our faces.
Right.
So
We can't rely on, what I have learned over the years through the creation of this language and embarking on my personal, uh, other endeavors. You got to get around people that's like you, man.
hmm
You can't stay around individuals that are naysayers. Yeah, and most of the time in the black community, if we are different in any kind of way, we're normally the only one in the family.
mm
And in the black family, the whole notion of the black sheep is truly played out because if there's one black awake person, you can guarantee the rest of the family is like that fool got a spirit on him, or he got a demon, or they they horribly, you know, incorrectly practicing Christians, and they think that any knowledge outside the Bible, which they don't even read, is the only thing you should
Right.
know. So,
I do the same thing as a Muslim, believe it or not. I do the same thing where um, when if I think in a way that challenges the status quo, that challenges you know uh, preconceived notions of just a personal experience, just that challenges common ideas, then somehow oh brother, you're heretical, you're being this, that, and the other. I said, but I'm just going, I'm asking the question of, look, the book is telling me to ponder, to reflect, to think. So I'm asking you, after I've pondered, reflected, thought, contemplated, what do I do with the results? Ignore it? Forget about it? Because what I'm doing is manifesting the results of my contemplation and thinking. It's telling me to contemplate. I'm contemplating, and here's what happened. Sights, new sounds, new concepts are perceived, and new aspirations. So what do I do with it? What am I? Why am I taught to think and contemplate if there's nothing to do with it? If there's no benefit? So people have a hard time when Brother Abdul Wadu comes around sometimes, but I understand.
yeah,
So
man, it's a lot, man. We have to. It's like we have the near impossible job of undoing our own undoing.
yeah,
And what I mean by that is the psychology fix or the psychology witchcraft the white man has put on us to make us distrust our own knowledge, distrust each other, distrust our own abilities, always depend on people who do not look like us for everything.
mm,
And that within itself is the whole of what keeps us in the hand of the enemy. Okay.
yeah,
Once you don't trust your own people, you don't trust your own knowledge, you don't trust your own abilities, which means you're not even going to try because what's the point? You're dumb anyway. You're going to be permanent and perpetual slaves, which is what the Caucasian government made. I think it was a law that they said that the black man was never supposed to be uh, uh, a competing race, but we're always supposed to be a permanent subclass. Okay, that's an absolute thing. They wrote that. They wrote that into freaking their laws.
yeah.
Okay, that's a real thing. They said that. I got documentation on it. I can't quote it exactly, but they wrote that. And they're like, we're supposed to be a permanent subservient race.
We might have to
Well,
build on that sometime. That's
yeah,
that's a big topic all by itself. That's heavy right there. You
yeah.
know.
So if I know that, and we see all these depictions of these other races, basically displaying that they already have these preconceived notions of our non-existent psychological ability.
Hmm.
Okay, then we already know what everybody else thinks about us.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
already know. They
That-
think we're inept.
That's why I say we have to, by any means necessary, revolutionize our way of thinking. We have to put it like this: that if the processes of thought are using the methods of our Western um, slave masters, descendants, um, then we have to say that this must be um, corrupted. It must be off, and we need to challenge it every step of the way. Um, wherein something is good and useful, okay, fine. Everything that everybody's done hasn't always been something adverse to the black people, but we have to investigate it line by line by line. And this is why when I mention all those examples of black excellence, I say that these names, they need to be household names. They need to be, all the names of the examples of black excellence, not just the ones I've mentioned. There's so many. We need to canonize our scholarship, our knowledge sources, our front runners of knowledge. We need to canonize it. We need to make it our core body of what we pass down to our children, so that we focus on our own voice. You understand? The
Yeah,
voice that comes from us, and lift that higher than anybody else's voice. You understand? Lift that higher. Yeah, yeah, exactly. We need to be able to manifest examples just like that, where we start embracing. I mean, that's just you know. Do you have any children?
yeah. I got 4 kids, man.
Are they learning this language?
Yeah,
Good. That's exactly what I mean. It starts there, little bits at a time. And let's say you have a son or a daughter who ends up excelling in it, not just excelling in it linguistically, but scholastically, to where she can pass down and pass on to her colleagues, her friends, her peers, the a wisdom, a motivation to embrace what she's learned from you. You understand? This is how these things spread out. You understand? This is how these things are propagated. You
yeah,
know? And the next thing you know, I mean, imagine having a whole community, a whole town or whatever, who knows this language well and utilizes it functionally. You understand?
See, that is what I want to get to. Okay, to the point where this is something that I put on my refrigerator and I put on, before I leave the house.
Hmm.
This is what you say before you leave.
Yeah.
You recite these words. It makes you, you know, speak the language. It makes you recognize the characters, and you really got to look at it and make sure you're saying it right.
What I
Okay.
would encourage you to do, brother, I don't know how poetic you are. I know you're lyrical. I
Yeah.
don't, and you probably have already made efforts towards this. I would canonize, you know, ideas, concepts, principles that your family upholds,
Hmm.
visions, if you would, objectives that, far-seeing objectives that you would like your family to be directed towards, focused towards, and put these in rhythm, in prose, in ways that when your children see it, you understand. So by the time they come our age, these are so ingrained within their hearts and minds that when you ask them, what are you going to do when you get older? What are you going to do? They're not going to say Disneyland. They're going to say, well, I want to manifest such and such and such and such what my father is left behind, what my father was building on. You understand? And they start, they start canonizing what your way. You understand? They start canonizing the way of their father.
Yeah, that's easier said than done.
Yeah, I know.
It's easier said than done. These kids today, I have struggled, man. I have struggled to get my kids to learn the bit of the the degree of the language that they did learn, it was a great uphill, up mountain battle. You
Yeah.
know, not even a regular mountain, like a mountain of a degree of maybe 12 degrees, basically walking straight up a damn wall. You know, with their mama, and it helps when you have a partner who
Who's
is
on the
not
same page?
who's on the same page and they are not compromised by the ideals of the white man.
Yeah, I definitely could. I could relate with you more than you know.
You know,
I could relate with you more than you know.
you telling you talking to the kids in public, and she more concerned about what white people think than
Right.
what the kids are enjoying. Like, this is their world right here. We are that. We take our world everywhere.
Yeah.
We don't have to, have our world stop because somebody else's, view of us, may be negative. Who cares?
Hmm.
We have our world here. This is what we need to, you know, embody. This is a world.
Yeah.
Okay, Chinese people have their world. They take their
You,
world
you, you you
everywhere they
know
go.
what I'm thinking here. Let me see if I can reach this up here. It's on the top shelf. Hold on a second here. I've got this. I got a stamper, right?
Uh huh.
And the reason why I got this stamper is because my intention is to go through a list of things that I believe are important for the black community to build on.
Right.
And I may have a live presentation about it or something. I'm not sure, but I got this big old stamper. You see this big old stamper? This is a big stamper, ain't it? I
Yeah.
got a small one too over there, but I got this stamper big for a reason. Because I want us to believe in ourselves. I want us to authenticate ourselves and improve ourselves. You understand? So, for example, a lot of local scholarship, like I was saying, just like yourself, brothers and sisters who've been productive and who've been um, productive in trying to create something
Mm.
genuine for themselves, for their family, for their people. And I want us to believe in ourselves. I want us to say, well, okay, well, look, it's got the stamp of the light dome on it, so it
Right.
must be authentic. It must be legit because it's got a stamp from a black authenticating source on it. So why I'm saying that, brother, if like what you've got right there,
Yeah.
if you're ever interested, I can definitely authenticate a copy of it for you so that the family knows that, hey, it's been authorized by black folks. It's been authorized. It's authoritative. It's not just some random, popcorn, cotton candy, something that just, that's no. It's real. It's for us. It's legit. The things that we produce from ourselves, for ourselves, we authenticated ourselves. We don't need to keep going to that other yard seeking authentication, seeking permission, seeking validation. We validate ourselves. You understand? We
Right.
validate ourselves. That's what this is about. We validate ourselves. So, um, and I think that's important for us to get that in our heads when it comes to scholars, when it comes to activists, when it comes to anybody that or anything that we do that we push forward. I want to do something where anything that's on the scene in our time that people have question about, if it's legit, if it's
Yeah.
thorough, guess what I'm going to do? I'm gonna put my stamp of approval on it, so that way everybody knows. Well, guess what? The light dome says it's legit. So what does that mean? It's legit. It's authentic. It's been authenticated. It's got the light dome seal of approval on it. So it is what it is. Case closed. There's nothing else. No other lane we need to look at. You understand? No other external sources of approval that we need. No other external validation.
Right.
Just I mean, it might be silly, but to me, this this is a strategy that means a lot. this is a strategy that's trying to put the ball back in our court, trying to um, get us to believe in the sword that we have in our own hand.
Right.
You understand that? Hey, they've got us, well, so do we. They can do that. Oh, well, so can we. And not only
Right.
that, but most likely they got
Exactly.
whatever they're doing from us anyway. If they're
Exactly.
if they're dancing, they weren't. Look, I kid you not. Historically, if you look at the way people are moving nowadays, they weren't doing that before they came over here.
No.
They weren't doing none of these things. They weren't rocking the braids like you see them doing now. They weren't doing none of those things before they got hip to us doing it before them. All across the world, everything we do, the way we rhyme, the way we flow, the way I'm hearing folks flowing overseas. There wouldn't be no no shoot. There wouldn't be no Eminem. I'm gonna say it like that.
None.
None of these guys would be on the scene had it not been for what we put forth. You
Eminem,
understand?
he would be river dancing somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
They would sit there dancing on coals and stuff, whatever they were doing over there in Ireland.
Yeah, you know they do.
I'm telling you. So anyway, family. Uh, First of all, brother, it was, I would like you to be able to say to the people uh, if they would like to, get more insight about you or contact you or reach you or what have you, or know more about what you're putting forth. How can they go about doing this? What's the way?
They can contact me at my email. I'm pushing it in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
It's fire FAIYA dot star STAAR at gmail.com, and they can get in contact with me and we can build from there. My channel is Firestar the War God. That's where all my information is,
Mm-hmm.
all my videos and what. I'm about to start back doing my videos, but I'll be doing more live streams than anything else.
On YouTube?
Yes.
And you already put the information there? I didn't see it
That's my
pop up.
Gmail is there.
Let's see here. It didn't pop up yet. I want to pin it so people can see it. And Black Excellence, family. This conversation, those coming in, the viewers coming in, peace and blessings, Olivia and D. Marie, and I see Mr. Vengotti. Mr. Vengotti. And Gary, Brother Gary, peace and blessings. Black Queen DJ Flicks, Angels, Victor. Anyway, it was definite pleasure and blessing to have y'all here. All those who come in on this live. If I see that thing pop up, your message pop up, which I still don't see it yet, let me refresh this. Maybe that's why.
With Kajabi, it's easy to take the knowledge you already have and
Let's see here. All right. And I'll pin it when I see it. But what advice, what encouragement, what words can you say to the family that would drive the point in of embracing black ways of thought and action?
If we do not embrace our own ideas, thoughts, and ways, first of all, if we do not create our own ideas, thoughts, and ways, then we will have none to embrace, which is where we are. We have no thoughts, which is why I created the language. When we were speaking our own language, we have our own thoughts. Okay? So if we have none of these ideas to begin with, then we're just going to be perpetually in the hands of the enemies, able to be molded and turned into whatever they want us to be, which will be perpetually nothing. So we should always be striving to be our own, be striving to heal our own and to reawaken and resurrect the ideas and the intellect of our ancestors through us.
Yeah.
That's what we should be doing.
Hmm. Reminds me of growing up in the hip hop generation that I grew up in. One of our words would be, to always keep it original, to always stay original, to always, be ourselves. When we came to flowing, when it came to whatever we did, it was always about originality. And I remember, some of the people I have a great respect for that passed away. Those are some of the lines they left with. Let me type it in there. What is it? What is your? Because I still don't see it popped up.
It's my name, FAIYASTAAR, War God.
Because I think maybe I might have a setting or something that's hindering that. I don't know. Um, so I see you said your name star War God,
Yeah,
WARGOD, like that.
yeah, FAIYA space STAAR space D space War God.
Oh, okay, like that. Okay, okay, okay.
It should come right up on YouTube.
So what I'll do is I'll do that and put the link on there. That way it's easy for people to find. Yeah. Okay, family. So we're going to do this. So here's a link to his channel. You wanna check the brother out. Um, and there's pinned. I pinned it there. And show your respect. Go there, subscribe, like, do all that stuff that you do, and support the brother's efforts because like I said, it takes we have to, like I said, we got to show appreciation to excellence amongst ourselves when and wherever we demonstrate it. We can't sleep on ourselves anymore. We got to stop sleeping on each other. We got to stop sleeping on our scholars. We got to stop sleeping on our adepts, our spiritualists,
Right,
our doctors of medicine. You
right,
understand? Our sisters and brothers of excellence in whatever field they're in. We have to stop sleeping on ourselves and constantly seeking the same effects across the street from the other man. You understand?
right.
So because most of what we're looking for, we have it in plenty. Amongst our own selves, we have it in plenty. You
Yep.
understand? So, and not just in plenty, but in greater quality.
Right.
In greater quality because we're speaking our own language. We're speaking our own from our own hearts, our own selves, to ourselves. We're speaking to ourselves. You understand? So, yeah, definitely check that out, and and show your love and respect. Um, let's see here. I'm trying to make sure I got everything out that I needed to get out. Um, By the way, for those of you that have been looking at listening to the talk that I had about compiling a letter for Brother Kente Thomas, aka Mighty Spite, I have the letter right here that I'm going to send out in the mail. I don't know if you can see. It's probably going to show it backwards, but anyway, um, I was sending it out. I was waiting for some Malcolm X stamps that I ordered. And for some weird reason, they said they were going to be here on the 8th and they never came. So I got to find out what the heck Amazon is doing. Right. I got to, figure that out. But I'm going to go ahead and just use a regular postage stamp. Right. And, send it through, to the brother. In fact, since I was talking about this stamp, I'm going to go ahead. I'm gonna watermark it also. I'm trying to be careful because I understand that those the prison systems and whatnot, they get real funny when they see certain things. So I'm trying to just keep it real basic. But the letters together, I think I showed you. If you want to hear his reply to my comments to him last time, check my last live. He had something to say to the family, so check my last live, and I break that down. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and send this letter out. The first, first working day, it'll be in the box, the mailbox. 'Cause I like doing it this way, snail mail, what you call snail mail, because it's more personal, it's more old fashioned. And sometimes when you could do this rather than this, it has a different effect. You know what I'm saying? This is sort of old fashioned, you know what I mean? This is how we've been doing it for a long time before we got to these devices. Um, so yeah. And with that said, I wanted to go ahead real quick. Let me show y'all if y'all are still interested in supporting the Mighty Spike situation. Let me I still got that video on there. Yeah, that's a younger me right there. And I was a lot lighter too, by the way. I was a lot lighter. Um, so Mighty Spike, the email. I don't know if you can see that because I've got Firestar's name right there. So there's Mighty Spike, Kente Thomas, freespike.com. Last I checked, that's still legit. That's still what's happening. I haven't gotten any updates on anything about the court case or anything like that, but that's what you have going on there. The other element that people were interested in supporting was Brother Otha Wallace, aka Ozone. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there. There's Ozone, www. I don't know if you can see that well, but it's We Stand with Ozone.com. So there you have that. You have the We Stand with Ozone.com. Now, of course, let's see here. I don't have the image, but I've been shouting out the supporting the Grandmaster J Legal Defense Fund. I'm still shouting that out. I'm like I said, I'm the type of brother. I'm just trying to make sure that I represent what I could do as far as supporting the black community, as far as standing up and speaking when others aren't able to speak for whatever the reason, and just keeping the names alive, keeping the people who've been about this cause alive, so that everybody is that, so that we're never forgotten from amongst ourselves. Like I said, this is about us. For me, this is about us. Black excellence, right? Let's see. And of course, you see up there at the top right corner of the screen the Cash App for the Light Dome, which helps in so many ways because, like I said, it helps with this platform. It helps with the souljourneyoflife.org platform. But it also helps when it comes to some of the activities that I try to do in the community for the cause as well. And there's so many activities. I'm a roamer. I'm a traveler. I'm not like locked on one thing or with one organization or these people or those. I help. I'm think of it like that traveling monk. You understand? He puts his he's got his bag over his shoulder and he just he's wherever he go, wherever he puts his feet down. I follow my heart in these matters. And if I feel like there's some authenticity in something, some solidness in something, I support it. I support it. And this brother right here is one of the brothers, I have admiration for because I feel he's one of the solid brothers that have, that is, that's definitely standing out, with his own and genuine efforts, And for me, it was more so recognized because, you know, like I said, you've got to really grasp the heaviness of the talent that it takes to literally create a language. You understand? From the root up. That's no light deal. If you ever learn any kind of language, I don't even Western language, Spanish, French, uh, Latin even, you will respect how complicated it would be to uh, develop a language system. You understand? So we have to respect, where respect is due, and like I said, scholars recognize scholarship, plain and simple. Scholars recognize scholarship. Bottom line.
Yes.
So, thank you here. I think I've exhausted what I could say. I'm looking to see if there's any other notes that just to make sure. Let me look over here. Let me look at my notes right here. Yeah, definitely take a look back at this video because I point out, like I said, I cited some very prominent people, and I didn't do it in vain. All the people that whose names I mentioned, not in vain. Any titles that I mentioned, not in vain. Go ahead and play back the video, when you can, when you have the opportunity, and just research all those names that I pointed out. And if they have any YouTube videos about them, check those YouTube videos out because, yeah, definitely, like I said, we need to embrace our own library, family. We need to embrace our own scholarship. Our libraries, there's so many black scholars, black adepts, black elites, black talented specialists, that our libraries, our whole cabinet of anything we want to show and break bread with our children, pass on to our children, we've got more than enough. We've got surplus. You understand? We've got surplus examples that we never need to wonder if the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Because our grass is sparkling. You understand? Our grass is sparkling over here. If you understand how to observe, and that right there, my family, has been given the stamp, the light don't stamp of approval. Okay. And with that said, brother, I'm going to go ahead, uh, bid you a well deserved respect and peace and salute. Um,
Peace.
let's see here, and perhaps we'll entertain another live at another time. Um, let's see here. This, like I said, there were some topics that we broke bread on here. Like I said, that could be dug into a little bit deeper. I think a lot of the viewers that come this way would appreciate it because like this is Soul Journey of Life, conscious black social media. So we're not
Right.
on all the riff-raff that you might see on some of these other platforms. This is strictly dome talk. You understand? Talk for the dome, the light
Right.
dome. And so perhaps there'll be some another time for the pleasantries of this. Um, peace and blessings. Shalom. Salam alaikum. Hotep. Come again.
Yeah,
And
bless up, man.
definite salute. hmm Boom. Let's see. And boom. Take that out. Where is that at? That's this tab. Okay, family. Um, there you have it. I hope that what's come out of this is something that like I said, my hope is that this is that you are inspired and motivated to manifest fully, wholeheartedly what it means to be black. You understand? To embrace it. You understand? If you have any level of I'm not talking about knowledge that's been authorized or authenticated by white folk. If you know something, put it in ink, put it in art, put it in prose. However you got to manifest what you do, manifest it and let it be authenticated. Let it and recognize it as authentic for yourself amongst the people. You understand? Don't be afraid to manifest your skill. Don't be afraid to manifest your scholarship. Don't be afraid to demonstrate black excellence. Let us appreciate one another. Let us appreciate um, the weight of what we have. And when you want to know, find some black brother or sister that is renowned for that. You understand? So find a black brother or sister that's qualified with that type of insight, that type of information, outformation. You understand? Look there first. I'm not saying ignore scholarship where doctors, white doctors or Chinese doctors or scholars, but first let's look at us first. Let's see if you're trying to find out what the next breakthrough is. Let's look at our people first. You understand? Let's look through the black Rolodex first. And if you can't find anything therein, then let's start chopping down until we get the answers that you're looking for. You understand? Till you get the answers that you're looking for. But first, start with us. Start home. Start at home first. You might find out that there is some milk in the refrigerator after all. You understand? That there is some bread. You just forgot that you put it in the store somewhere else. That there is what you're looking for. You understand? Don't believe. Don't take this notion that we're poor in this. Sometimes the most profound enlightenment, oftentimes I should say, the most profound enlightenment doesn't come at worldly high levels, but sometimes it comes at the lowest levels of society. Because sometimes the so-called lowest level of people have the most time to be reflective on truth, on reality, on the facts of life. I don't know if you ever had a chance to, talk to like even a homeless person. Sometimes they have more to say that hits home than a wealthy person, than a rich person. Jeff Bozo ain't got nothing on some of the homeless people that I've met in my life and come across in my life, and the stuff that they have to say. And it's a wonder that they ain't where he's at. Some of them don't want to be. You understand? And they have very, very sound reasons why they don't want anything to do with a lot of the fame and fortune that this life wants to flash in our faces, as if this is the way, as if this was everything that life is all about. You understand? Some people, some of them. I know there's one person who had some things like that, who had that level of, who was wealthy, who was established, who was a business owner, and just tapped out. Just tapped out. He just didn't want it anymore. And he had all the proof. He wasn't just talking. He wasn't just on some talk stuff. He had proof. He had little relics and stuff of things that he did, pictures and stuff. So I'm just saying, family. Sometimes we gotta look within before we look without. We're at a time where, yeah, it's time for a revolution. But guess where the greatest revolution has to be? It has to be, we have to revolutionize this right here. You understand? We got to revolutionize this, because something in this is what's causing us not to be able to unify properly. Wars are preparing, lining up, battleships are lining up. People are talking all kinds of stuff all across the globe, having nothing to do with you and me. Meanwhile, we're still so heavily, sickly divided. Opportunity to really make a difference within ourselves and in the community is right at us. Opportunity to really rise up and manifest who we really are is right at us. But the solutions that bring that about, the solutions that cause that to be brought into being, the real Restoration Act, for whatever the reason, you understand, we're having a hard time getting this unity thing together. And yeah, everybody's not going to unify. But I'm saying the ones that keep touting it, the ones that keep talking about it, the ones that keep, boasting and putting that out there, that they're black unity. And yet, even we are divided. Even the people who are supposed to be about black unity are just as divided as those people who act like there's no such thing as racism. Just as divided. Little pockets of unity here and there. But the minute somebody rubs you the wrong way, the minute somebody disagrees with your perspective, and you want to cancel and you want to cut them off. We cancel each other long before anybody else can cancel us. Dave Chappelle don't got to worry about white folks canceling him. That's the least of his worries. We got enough people amongst us who will sit there not even know what's going on and like, oh well, instead of standing up for our own and supporting our own, defending our own, we're ready to jump on our own. So these folks ain't got they ain't, these white folks are the least of their worries, man. We gotta have a breakthrough, a revolutionary psychological breakthrough, spiritual breakthrough, family, so that we can realize the bottom line. Like, look, I'm about unity. As you see me, I'm about unity. I'm here for the black family. That's why I'm doing any of this anyway. You understand? I started doing this. I'm gonna let you know when I started doing this. I've done other YouTube stuff, videos and stuff, but I started doing this right here in this way, this platform, when they were silencing the brother. You understand? GMJ, they were silencing the brother and making it so that he couldn't speak what he had to speak. And so I was like, well, what was he doing on the point of them apprehending him the way they did? He was building on the destruction of black civilization by Chancellor Williams. So I was like, well, okay, this is what he was building on. So we need to carry, those of us who are supporting that cause, that movement, we need to keep on carrying on, keep on building on what the brother was building on, and not let them silence him, so to speak. They may have silenced the individual, but they didn't silence the people. And so, if you'll see that I gotta check on the playlists that I have. One of them is a playlist, Destruction of Black Civilization, and literally I go through the whole entire book in that playlist to basically, if you would, fulfill what I felt was trying to be silenced, was trying to be stopped. Yeah, it was more, because the brother was breaking bread on it. He was dropping jewels on it. But I at least wanted to fulfill that the book was read, so that in any given case, we got to get the reading of the book out. We can take it and read it on our own, build on it, so that if perchance another day comes where ones like this brother do build on it, we're all on the same page. Like, oh, okay, they're building on that book. Yeah, we know that title. We know that book. Let's break bread. Just another effort to keep the black family on the same page. So that we're talking the same. We're talking the same language. We're talking in harmony. We're talking in sync. We got to unify, family. We got to unify. I'm trying to tell you, the last thing I wanted is to be a sitting duck somewhere when things really start to hit the fan. And it will. You understand? It will. One day you'll be walking in Walmart and it won't be the type of groceries you're looking for on the shelf. It'll be empty shelves. It won't be just the water section empty. Real talk, family. What are you going to do then? Where's your alliances? You understand? Everybody's so full of themselves. If things were to go down right now, where's your alliances at? Who's on your team? Many of you ain't got nobody. You understand? So any kind of opponent amongst us, amongst them, anybody that wanted to do you wrong, when this all breaks down, they will be able to do whatever they want because you ain't got nowhere to go. You ain't got no support system. You ain't got, you one of those like, man, I don't need nobody. I'll help myself. I'll look after myself. You're only saying that in the comfort of security, in the comfort of a secure neighborhood where everybody happens to be getting along at the time. But every day I could look in the paper now. I could look on my phone now at the news or whatnot. Somebody's been shot somewhere. Somebody's been killed. Somebody's been, crashed in a car accident somewhere, right here in this city that I'm in now. You look behind me, I'm showing you the backdrop from the city that I'm in right now. That's Euclid Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, right? So I'm just saying, this time has to be a time for a real awakening, family. A real live black awakening. You got to wake up. It's not All that stuff you thinking, man, 99% of it has been this misprogramming that's been crushed into your head years and years. I know it's hard to believe for some of us, but you got to understand everything you see, everything you hear, it goes into your mind. You understand? And there's certain ways that you can communicate signs and symbols to cause you to think and perceive your reality a certain way. You understand? You see a certain symbol, like right now, many of you who've been watching and viewing, you've seen the soul journey of life symbol. So that there may come a day where all I have to do is just show the symbol. I don't even need to put the words there, soul journey of life. Just put the symbol. And automatically, you know that it has something to do with Brother Abdul Wadu. Some Questman's about to say, all I have to do is put the symbol. But similarly, our adversaries are hip to some of this. And they've used it against us time and time again. Every year, December 25th, what you going to do? Look, for not even the 25th, the 30th of October, what you going to do? What you doing? What you doing the 30th of October? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. What you doing the 30th of October? The same programming madness that you've been doing year after year after year, and even though you go to your churches and mosques and everywhere else, and they tell you, no, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do that, but you still do it anyway. It's for the kids. It's for the children. And then the children take on this and only to say the same thing that the parents. It's for the kids. It's for the children. Same madness, same psychological madness. We need a revolution, family. It is time for the revolution right here. And that's not something you can televise. That's not something you can't put this on the screen. This is the revolution that happens here isn't something you can televise. But what you can do is witness the results when it happens in the black community. You can witness the effects in your own life. Forget about what that other guy's doing. Everybody wants to point the finger, but he's doing this. He's misusing the money, or he's misusing this, or he's misusing that. Forget about all that. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you doing anything to help the situation? Really? Or are you causing more division? Are you causing more separation? Are you causing more confusion? Are you stirring up more flames amongst the community? These are questions you have to ask yourself. And yeah, this might not be the most entertaining topic, the most entertaining thing. There's a lot, more. Like I said, if I was to put some car accidents on, some of the shootings that's happening, the reports, maybe something like that would draw more entertainment. Or maybe have some chicks, twerking on this little box, right? Something like that might be more entertaining to many of the viewers. I bet you, if I put a video like that on there, it would. The watchers the viewers would start rising up quickly. Like, oh, what are they doing over there? You understand? Or find someone on here to argue and debate back and forth with for hours. You understand? In vain. Maybe that might get more draw more attention than the things that we have to build with, than the things that we have to have a serious conversation about, family. We have to have this serious conversation. That's what I'm doing. You want to know what's happening over here? Soul Journey of Life, the Light Dome channel. That's what this is about. That's what this is about right here. We've got enough channels, dropping the riffraff, doing the riffraff stuff. You understand? Plenty of that you can watch anytime you want. It's all through and through. So I have a respect for those. I have a respect for all the genuine minds. Like I said, all the names that I mentioned. I was just watching Kevin Samuels just recently. Brother, we were talking about Kevin Samuels. And I know some brothers and sisters have a bone to pick with him. They don't like the way he comes at things. But the thing is, right? When a person is solid about what they believe in, when a person is solid about their perspective, you can recognize that. See, a lot of us, when we hear something that we don't like, we respond emotionally. We don't respond with logic and reason. You don't get up on their platform and say, hey, okay, I hear what you're saying, I disagree, and boom, here's my reasonings as to why. Let me break bread with you, brother. We don't do that. Instead, we shoot planks at each other We shoot planks at each other to try to tear each other down and belittle each other because we didn't like something they said. We didn't like how they came across. But I'm sitting here listening to the brother, a lot of valid points, a lot of valid things the brother is dropping. Hate to tell you, and I see this time and time again on a lot of the respected platforms. Most of the negative replies are coming from people who are full of emotions. If you look at the commentary on some of these cases, it'd be just emotional comments, name calling, belittling, nothing that's given solid reason why you are opposing somebody. We gotta be better than that, family. Revolutionize our mind. Revolutionize your way of thinking. Like the brother said, facts over feelings. You understand? Keep the keep the feelings back at home. Come to the table with facts. That's how we build. We build with solid bricks of facts. You understand? So, family, I've got crying babies who are waking up now, probably wanting something to drink. My daughter has been, you know, getting very learned, very clever. You understand? Big vocabulary, big vocabulary growing up, big vocabulary. Just turned 5. How many days ago now? Just turned 5, 6 days ago. So now we got to deal with a full-fledged 5-year-old crying daughter. But it is what it is. That's that's the type of thing we have to deal with each other like that. Right now, when we bicker amongst each other, we're just like crying little children. So the adults in the room have to step up and come together and manifest the type of examples that the crying ones can be able to be satiated with, pacified with, nourished with. Because when you nourish the child, when you give the child the drink, then they stop crying. And after a while, as they get older and mature, they understand. You understand that, hey, the reason why it took so long for the drink to come my way is because it had to be prepared first. You understand? Mama had to prepare it first. So, take it out of the fridge, get the cup, get the clean cup or whatever, pour it into the cup, then bring it to her. That takes time. Everything doesn't happen with this is not it's not the Thanos glove going on here. So yeah, family. It's a definite pleasure. All those viewing, I have nothing but respect for the black family. So like I said, I've had occasions where some people try to come on the platform, bring in the drama. Don't have time for it. Block, mute, whatever. Do just keep it moving because that's not what I have no drive for any of that at all. I'm concerned about strictly revolutionizing our thinking. You understand? Revolution, building. When I grew up, when I was younger, that's what we talked about. Building. What are we going to break bread with? What jewels are we going to drop? We had respect for our elders. When our elders showed up, we always knew they was going to say something that we could take with us. We'd sit there and listen. You understand? We sit there and listen to the old school and listen. So I definitely have a respect, for our elders, for our ancestors, for those who came before us, for all those who, if they didn't do what they were doing, if there was no Marcus Garvey, if there was no Malcolm X, if there was no Elijah, if there was no any of these great ones, if they didn't exist, you know, we probably would be in a worse situation today. If the people who've been standing up today, didn't stand up, we'd probably be in a worse situation today. Many of us would probably be. If look, I'm gonna just tell you now. If many of the people, like I said, some of the activists have been adamant about, warning you about taking that jab. Imagine if none of them were here. Imagine if GMJ didn't stand up. Imagine if RZA didn't put you know speak up. Imagine if these people weren't doing what they were doing. Many of us might be in the worst situation today because we might be so gullible to take that jab. I'm just saying, if you do the math, do the math. To do the right thing, it takes motivation, it takes inspiration, to be aware of the right thing to do, to be conscious, to be alert, to be paying attention to the right things, to the right action to make. You understand? It takes inspiration. And so when you have voices out there that keep on calling it out for what it is, calling out the reality, the facts for what it is, it makes you hip, it makes you aware, alert, like, oh, you know, it makes you alert in a type of way. Yet many of us in our hearts, we knew not to take the jab. Many of us are religious. We tie it to something that's prophetic. So we ain't taking inwardly we weren't taking the jab. But some of us, because we have this lukewarm element into us about our religiosity, we inside we would not want to take it, but for some reason you get soft, you get weak, you get pushed into taking the jab. That's what happens when you take these pieces out, family. When you take these voices out, these voices of admonition, these voices of warning, when you take these voices out, you end up doing the very thing that under any other normal circumstances, you know good and well you wouldn't want to do it. But when you have these voices there constantly added, it keeps you awake and alert, so that you will not do it. Because you know you don't want to do it, and you're going to make sure that you don't do it. That's just what happens when you get these warners, these messengers. You understand? And that's all. Like I said, I have a respect for them. I have a respect because it takes a lot of courage to do some of these things, especially when you know that this devilish enemy holds no bars. They'll do anything. They'll do anything to achieve their aims. It doesn't matter. You understand? They're not. It's not about morality when it comes to, being, manifesting the ways of the devilish ones. It's not about morality. They'll do anything. So yeah, it makes sense for the black family to watch their children, to watch their women, to watch themselves, because all these things, these are the warnings. In the Quran it tells the conscious person to protect yourself and your family from the fire of hell. Protect yourself. It says start with yourself first. Protect yourself and your family. And if you look, you see reasons why evermore that's such powerful hikmah, powerful wisdom. Protect yourself, save yourself and your family from the fire of hell, whose fuel is men and stones. That's the citation. And so in that, think about the markets that are going on, the illegal markets, where our women are being kidnapped, our children are being kidnapped, our children are being bombarded with deception. The minute you look anywhere, you can't go to any hospital, you can't go to any clinic, you can't go to any park or anywhere you look, there's some form of deception ready for your children to see it, ready for your children to view it and hear it. Walk into Walmart if you don't believe me, right there. As soon as you come in, something for you. It's like they know that you're going to bring your child with you. So let's go ahead and put this in their face real quick. And even the devils, they'll come right to you. They won't say nothing to you. They'll bend the knee and greet your child. Oh, how are you doing? We had somebody come to us one day with that Mickey Mouse stuff, and asked our daughter if she knew something about Mickey Mouse. I said no, she doesn't know anything about that. And I said it in a way to let the lady know in the conversation we ain't on that. We ain't on nothing like that. We don't do nothing about that. So she just had to switch it up a little bit, save face. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. Oh, all right. She went on about her business. But they didn't come to the parent like, hey, how are you two doing? Oh, you got your daughter. Oh, how are you doing? They don't do that. They go directly to the child. And the thing is that you're missing is the sound bite. See, when they do that, it's a sound bite that, if your child was paying attention, they might absorb that sound bite and take it with them because they now heard it. Now, when that sound bite is produced in some other format, some other medium, they heard that before. Oh, I heard that before. This is what they're talking. Oh, look at this. Oh, it's fun. Lots of fun in games, and they get draped off. Protect your children, family. It's that easy. It's that easy. Protect your children. Walk into Walmart and guy don't look at me, don't look at my wife, looks at my daughter, and then gives this real grim smile. Real greasy smile. So I mean mug him. That was my response. I mean mug him. Like, what? What you looking? And he saw that, and quickly walked out the door. But that's what I'm saying. You got to protect your family. Understand what this means to protect your family. You understand? If you're not hip, if you're not hip, get hip. If you don't believe that the drama is happening, get hip. You understand? It's happening. It's happening. And I just saw an article the other day where there's talking about getting the jab out for kids. They made that was the headline. I wish I could find it again. That was the headline though. It's approved for they're approving a version. They said a fix specifically for the children. Why is that a problem? Amongst other things that we already know are the problem. You want to know more about what the problem is? Go check out what Rizza Islam is talking about. Go check it. Go check the brother Islam. He'll break all that down for you. But specifically, the problem that I have is more of the psychological effect. A child can't express fully their pain. You understand? They can't express what specifically is causing their pain, their suffering. So when you inject something in a child, they have no way of telling you how it feels to them, how it's affecting them. You understand? So if ever there was the easiest way to deceive or to get at a person is to go to them when they're innocent, when they can't defend themselves, when they can't explain back to you why they don't want to do what you're saying. You understand? A child. Protect your children, family. Protect your children. Protect your women folk. And I understand many of our sisters, we're strong, we're independent, da 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 da. But look, if you got brothers protecting you, go ahead and accept their protection. Go ahead and accept their protection, even if it's out of distance. Accept the protection because the way they're doing, the way things are operating now. You could be simply walking down to get your groceries, do whatever you think you're doing, all in your innocence, and come up missing. In this city right here that I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, there's been reports where a political leader, a fire community or whatever, fire committee or whatever you want to call it, and several other notables were involved in trafficking. City people, city folks were involved in your women folks coming up missing. So I'm just saying, this is real stuff happening, family. It might not be music to your ears or whatever, but you know, you've got to look out. We've got to look out for one another. And if no one is saying it, somebody's got to say it. Somebody's got to talk about it. Somebody's got to put these bugs in your ear. Protect your family. And so, as I like to always say at the bottom line here, if you're in the presence of your family, look to your right, to your left, brother, sister, mother, father, niece, nephew, whatever, whoever's there. Look at them and give them a hug. Give them a tight hug, a very, very tight hug. And if they ask you why you're hugging them so hard, tell them because you love them that much. And you want to make sure that they're okay. So you got to hug them. You had to hug them like this. You had to make sure that they took you seriously. because these are days where you've got to be taken seriously, family. If you are about the code, if you're about the principle, if you're about the cause, if you're about black unity, you've got to be taken seriously in your family. These are things we can joke about a lot of things, but when it comes to this, we got to make sure you're serious. You got to make sure you are real. You got to make sure that those around you are real. Those that you're taking in your circle of friendship, you got to make sure they're real. It just is what it is, family. Enough of us can get on here in these YouTubes and talk for 5 hours, breaking each other down. Enough of us can get on here talking about gibberish and talking about whatever. But some of us have got to, use this. If we're going to use a platform for anything, use it to reflect, to think, to communicate that reflection. You understand? To talk intelligence. So, yeah, let them know you love them. Let them know you got their back. Know who your friends are. Know who your allies are. Know where you need to go if you need to go. You understand? Know where you need to go. Sisters, know where you need to go if you need to go. Brothers, know where you need to go. Know who your allies are. Know where you need to go. And know those who are dependent upon you. Brothers, know and acknowledge those who are dependent upon you for safety. Don't turn them away because they're dependent upon you for safety. They come into you because they trust that you will help keep them safe. Something about you lets them feel safe around you. Don't break the code. Don't break that. It be what it be. And that's showing somehow that you're an honorable person in your community. If they come into you, so keep on standing up, keep on stepping up, keep on boots in the ground, keep on representing an honorable person, an honorable character, family. I'm not going to hold you for too much longer. So with that said, this is your brother Abdul Adud, aka Quest Man. Another live on Soul Journey of Life. This one was embracing black ways of thought and action. Let us start appreciating ourselves a bit more. Let us start, believing in ourselves a bit more, trusting ourselves a bit more, resourcing from ourselves a bit more. Yeah. Assalamu alaikum, shalom, hotep, peace be with you, dear family, and have a blessed evening. Take care.
Bye.